to have the bollocks.
Do you really want to go toe-to-toe with me on that?
You've completely, like, what are we doing here? Levy isn't going anywhere.
It's all down to timing, isn't it?
Yes, guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Five. How are you? It is your Thursday night fancy time. We've got a fifth. Of course, we've got a fifth. It's Thursday. We've got the Spurs Five tonight. We've got the usual four in, and we got someone special, a returning guest of epic proportions. I hear that Lubo has kept this one to himself. So get your guesses in. Get your guesses in now. Guys, it's a big weekend ahead of us, and we have to talk about it. What happened in the North London derby last time? What's going to happen this time? What does it make it a little bit more exciting, a little bit more interesting? The fact that what happened last night, Wolves out of nowhere coming back from 2-0 down from the death, and all you can hear echoing around Wolverhampton, the East Midlands, all the way down south towards Tottenham Hotspur and North London is second again. Ole. Bottlers again. Ole. Is it going to happen? Well, listen, it's up to Tottenham now to really put the boot in. Can we do it? We've got the North London derby preview. We also, of course, have Ange Postecoglou's second run at the overlap. Did he say anything more? Has it changed your mind again? I'm sure there's going to be some split division and split opinions on that one. Guys, you know what to do. Smash the granny out of the like button for us as you take your shoes off. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already on the channel as you pour yourself a cup of tea or a beer or a cider or whatever it is you're fanciful. Hit a notification bell button if you enjoy the banter that surely will commence just in a moment. And make sure you drop your comments thick and fast. Make sure you keep them friendly. No need to be rude. Attack the argument, not the person. We are, of course, sponsored by OK Jersey. You know what to do. If you're looking for your clobber, and by the way, I have it on good authority that these guys have got themselves fully stocked for the World Cup. So if you are looking for your wherever you're from in the world, if you are looking for your country of choice, then make sure you get over to OK Jersey. Search for OK Jersey, and at checkout, put in code 5. Go a size up. We appreciate them for the sponsorship, and of course, lastly, part of the admin, last but by no means least. Guys, we are also available on all your podcast platforms. Stelios is doing a great job, a stellar job from Stelios in making sure that the podcast platforms are doing their thing too. So well done to all of you that are watching and listening. You can watch us back on Spotify. You can hear us back everywhere else. Search for Spurs 5 on all your platforms. Give us a follow, give us a rating, give us a review. Before we bring in the guest of the evening, the stellar guest of the evening, let me find out how the boys are doing. Lubington, Lubosevic, how are you?
All good, thanks.
You all right?
Sunday.
Looking
forward to tonight's show. Looking forward to all the comments. Hello to everybody here and watching. Good evening.
Superb. Johnny's microphone echo is right up there already. It's a rat-a-tartaring. How are you, Lubo? How are you, Johnny? Good to see you, mate.
Yeah, I'm okay. That was Lubo's rendition of Good Evening. Good evening. Yeah, very good impersonation. Listen, most people don't want to hear me once, let alone 2 or 3 times. So I apologise for the echo.
Good to see you, Johnny. And Mr. Stelios, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you, mate. You okay?
Yeah, not too bad. I've been a little bit worse for wear the last couple of days, so I don't know what I'm going to be able to bring to this show tonight. I'll try, but for what it's worth,
I'd imagine some waffle on toast, something like that. You know,
I'll grill you as always without too much. I won't break too much of a sweat. But what I will say is, I just need to get this off my chest. Okay, Bottlers again, ole ole. Bottlers again, ole ole. Bottlers again.
The clips will be clipping.
Last night was fantastic to watch. Absolutely epic. So. Yeah, more of the same on Sunday, please. More of the same.
It makes it more exciting. It gives Sunday an extra edge. It does. It really does. Because right now the Premier League title is in both teams' hands. Both teams can say if they win every game, they're going to win it. but maybe that's not going to be the case come Sunday evening. We will see. But before we get into that conversation, and of course, Ange Postecoglou's second crack of the whip, did he do anything to inspire you? Did he change anyone's hearts and minds? Let's find out who's going to join us for the evening, guys. You know what to do. Just bear with us whilst we find out who the guest selector is. Who could it be? Who could it be? Let's welcome back to the show. He is Mr. Big Time, Mr. Podcast, Mr. Spotify, Mr. Apple Pods, Mr. Everything. Something to do. He's going to be doing it. Late night show, 8 p.m. is usually his thing. It's Ricky Sachs, ladies and gentlemen. Big up to Ricky from the last Final Spurs. How are you, Rick?
Hey, boys. Thanks so much for having me. Appreciate it as always. And I don't think I'll get a better intro than that, Shawnee, so I might as well retire now, right?
Mr. Podtastic. Mr. Podtastic.
There we go. How are you?
Mr. Bombastic.
I'm good, mate. I mean, I think we're all probably in a better spirit, obviously, after seeing that bottling from Arsenal last night. But we have to be real. Sunday's still be a nerve-wracking situation, right? I think we all know how big the game is for us in general and just how disappointing the season has been as a whole. So if we can do anything on Sunday, hopefully the lads will turn up. Igor will get into them beforehand. It'd be fantastic, like I said, if we can get anything from that game, just to give everybody a bit of confidence ahead of, 12 massive games in the Premier League where I can't believe I'm even saying this on here and any Tottenham podcast at the moment. I can't believe we're in a position where we've got to just make sure we stay in the Premier League, which is damning really in terms of how far this football club has fallen in terms of the standard. So big week ahead, massive weekend in store. And as always, boys, thanks so much for having me.
It's great to have you, mate. Appreciate you coming on, buddy. Always great to have you. Before we get into the North London derby, guys, the big story out of today is obviously a little bit of a recycling of last week's big news, which was Ange Postecoglou's second crack at the overlap. Hasn't created as much of a sort of mountain as what I've seen, a mountain of like a wave even of split division. I'm going to allow someone to come in here. I don't always go to Stel first because I know Stel likes to come in last. He's very usually pensive. He waits. Until he gets his chance. He thinks for a second or two, and then he just go, let's rip. I'm going to let Stel come in first because I'm pretty sure that of the five of us, I'm not sure if Ricky's stance on this, but I'm pretty sure that Stelios was always a defender, at least in the moments after the Europa League final and since then, but not necessarily before then. Stel, Ange Postecoglou had a second crack today. Once again, didn't do anything in the way of acknowledging any of the faults of his own. It was one giant I'm brilliant, and the softball questions were non-stop from the 4 or 5 on the other side of the table. What was your thoughts on it, my man?
I forgot to ask Johnny, by the way, if he likes my new mug.
Yes. I take it you bought it for yourself.
I bought 2 in case one breaks. Oh man, Ange Postecoglou. If you like Ange, you're going to love the interview. If you hate Ange, you're going to find every reason to rip it to pieces. That's how I look at it. I think, from my perspective, look, I never wanted Poch out. I always backed Poch even when he got sacked. And that's when I became Levy out, Enoch out 6 years ago. I don't think hardly many fans were there back then. Very few of us were. Got a lot of shtick for it. I didn't want Conte out when fans wanted him out. I never wanted Mourinho out. Nuno, I was on the fence with because I never wanted him in the first place. And I gave him a year. The second year I switched off. I wanted him gone. Leading up to the quarterfinal, I said, look, if this guy wins the Europa, keep him. Because he would have done something no other manager before has managed to do. I never thought he'd do it, but he did. And at that moment, I said, right, we've got to keep him. Don't break this. And then I got slammed for the next 4 months. Look, Frank's come in. He had to go. Because he was a disaster. But if you look at every manager, not just Ange, I don't think there was too much of what Ange said that couldn't be said the same for every manager that's been here, including Frank. I don't think Ange wanted half the players he wanted, these kids. I don't think for 1 second, with 10 players injured, Thomas Frank went up to Lange and Vinay and said, go get me that Brazilian, that 19-year-old Sousa. Go get me him so I can turn this around. I don't believe that happened for 1 second. But the same for me, I could say for Conte, Mourinho. I could name you players that I just don't buy it. And I think you can hate Ange as much as you want, right? I'm not here to convert you. I think that he never got fully back. And I think that had he have started this season, I think he might have surprised us. I'm not saying he would have done magic. I think he might have surprised us. What we got instead was horrendous. Is that all Frank's fault? No. But, my God, man.
But still, sticking to the interview for a second. Over two different episodes, he never said anything was his fault, and the interviewers never challenged him on anything. Ever.
Yeah, because I think they like him. I think the likes of Carragher's, Neville's, I think ex-football players really like Ange. I think they warm to him. I think there's something about Ange that is likable, and I think the players felt that way too. And I think that's why he wasn't challenged, Sean. Should he have been challenged a bit more? Yes, he should have. But let's be honest, no journalist questions things the way us YouTubers do. Us YouTubers, we go at it. We go all in, right? These journalists, it's their career. And they're not going to ruin it by being, edgy. So
they might as well have kissed him, though,
Gary Neville's more than happy to be edgy.
Look at the way Neville interviewed Daniel Levy. Was that any different, Johnny?
No, I just think this one. He was going into Daniel's lion's den. He was going into his abode in his place, and I don't think he was hard enough on him either. But I think when a guy comes in and he conveniently forgets to go on and accept any responsibility for the 41 of the 60 defeats and blames others, right? I would have had more respect for him had he talked about the things that he'd done wrong.
Johnny, hold on, he did. One minute.
Right. It's more about what others had done wrong to him.
Johnny, 1 second. He did say he made a mistake with Forest. He did say
no, Spurs.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, I'm coming on to that. He did.
Strategically joining them when they had.
Hold on, look, you're going to attack him, right? You're ready. You can't wait to go in, right? Let me defend him. Hold on 1 second.
Just try and have a little bit of balance, though, just a tiny bit.
Yeah, but it's going to be heavily balanced when it comes to you guys, right? You're going to just swing it the complete other way.
No, we're not going to invent stuff that wasn't said. We're just
talking
about stuff that was.
Either I can tell you what I think, or I just pass the baton to you say it. Right?
Go.
For me, someone that said, "Do you know what? Keep this manager," because my fear was the alternative is we ruin that positive energy that we just managed to create. Whether it's down to Ange, the players, whoever, don't break it. I just feel what he was saying is partly down to him being really honest about what happened. And partly, and this is the bit you should have interrupted because I was going to say something here. Partly, he's looking for a job and he's not going to go and say, I was shit, I was crap, I got it all wrong. By the way, does anyone need a manager? So he's protecting himself and he's also being honest about certain things that happen. I think 100% he should have said, look, there's things I did that weren't good enough and there's things that happened that I have to take ownership of. But what I'm finding is more and more now, managers that leave Spurs slowly feel the need, I've got to talk about what happened there. And it just makes me feel, as much as we can call him out and blame him, the biggest issue is above him. And I'm glad that he did the interview and he's saying it because it just confirms things that Mourinho said and Conte said and what Poch kind of said without saying it.
Okay, I can see Ricky Sachs is... I say Ricky Sachs is. I can see Ricky is nodding his head and also put his hand up to agree with Stel saying about he's looking for a new job. Ricky, I'll come to you. Listen, I've had to phrase it a certain way to not look like I'm biased, but is it not important when you analyze the word spoken by a person to also, to also investigate or at least consider the method or the the directives of the people that are saying it. Like, what's the motivation of the messenger on that one? And for Ange Postecoglou, still says he wants to find a new job, right? He wants to get a new job. Okay, cool. But if you're going to call out the club and say, I'm not taking any responsibility for the failure, or possibly that's baked in there, is that not also a way to not get yourself a new job? If you're coming across as someone that the second that you get the chance to defend yourself, you're going to say, it wasn't me, Gov, it was everyone above me. Is that not a way to sort of distance yourself from the potential new employment that you're looking for?
But I think, Sean, you open with the most critical line of it all, is that for those that love Ange, some will absolutely love that interview, parts of that interview, both the week before and the week that we've had this week. Some that don't like Ange will not see any real benefit in what he said, because the reality is that across the two interviews, there's very little accountability that's been taken around the fact we've had the seismic league defeats that we had, a record for Tottenham, of course, in that last season. And we have to be honest and say that has definitely played its part, I would say, into this season in our failure to really address our league form. I think that has made a massive issue. However, at the same time, he's made it abundantly clear they prioritise the Europa League. And I think, like I think Stella was saying there, is that at the moment he's out of work. He's looking for a job. He wants a new opportunity. I never expected Ange Postecoglou in either interview to come on and take any kind of responsibility for, and maybe it's wrong me thinking that, he's looking for a new job. So he wasn't ever going to come out and say, I got this wrong, I got that wrong. He admitted in the interview that he shouldn't have taken the Forest job. He did suggest the fact that if you're going to, of course, want to credit with any size of the Europa League and what they did, he's also got to be accountable for the league form. But I think Spurs fans that would have sat in that stadium, and again, you guys know this because a lot of the people on this panel are season ticket holders, right, that pay a huge amount of money week in, week out to go to Tottenham. We weren't to know at the time, in that build-up to the Europa League, we were throwing it in terms of the Premier League form. So the key thing is here is that it's all very well saying it after the event when we've won it, but fans, I think, would like to see some sense of accountability for how bad the league form was during his time. But I don't think he was ever going to achieve that across these two interviews. My stance on Ange, for those that listened or watched last one on Spurs during his period, I thank Ange, I'd shake his hand, I'd give him a hug for winning the Europa League, but I don't think Ange's football, in my opinion, was ever going to be sustainable across a 2, 3, 4 year period. I don't think it was. And I think it said a lot that there was an admittance from Mickey van der Ven. They had to go and see Ange Postecoglou mid-season to adjust it tactically to go and win the Europa League. That's a big admittance from Mickey to have to do that. Yes, Ange, of course, did speak to the players and he did seem to command a respect that, let's be honest about it, Thomas Frank hadn't been able to achieve during his time at Spurs. So I look back with fondness in terms of him giving me one of the best weeks of my life as a Spurs fan, delivering us a trophy. I would never go back. I thank him for his time. And I think for all Spurs fans now, we just need to leave it in the past and focus on the future. Because like Stel was said, and I completely agree, and Stel made that point, it's a timeline as to how long it will take fans to get there. But the reality is where Tottenham are right now, everything Ange said was a reconfirmation of what we know in terms of this board. We are not going to go anywhere under the Lewis family. We're not going to go anywhere whilst Vinar Venkatesham and Johan Langer are in charge of this football club. And until we actually have changes at the very, very top, and for me, I would like to see a complete change in ownership. I fear that even with a change in manager in the summer, we'll be in exactly the same position that we are right now, unless we see anything like, and I hate to bring them up because it will come on to a bit later with Arsenal, the way we've seen, I think, forgive me, Josh Concrete really take an interest in the way Arsenal decided to change their structure and setup and invest in the team. Unless the Lewis family are going to adopt and follow a similar model, Spurs are never going to be anywhere near, unfortunately, competitive across 4 competitions and not challenging once again at the top table like we were under the Pochettino era. That's just the reality of where we are right now. And I don't see anything changing whatsoever.
Ricky, before I bring in Lubo and Johnny, I've got to sort of just not pushing back, but just sort of, I guess, throw another curveball towards you, which I don't think that the guys in the interview did. You know, Jamie Carragher called out Ange Postecoglou's management the entire time during his second season. Gary Neville criticised him in so many Monday Night Football shows, and yet neither of them pushed back on any of the answers that he gave. They were throwing softballs, in my opinion. I don't know if you agree or disagree on that. I'd love you to explore it. But you know, he said things in the interview like, "You'll never change me, right? I am who I am. You're never going to change me." But as you mentioned in your first answer there, well, he did change. he did change, right? Or at least he listened. He opened up.
He only changed because the players consulted him and they made him change. Because otherwise, had we not changed, let's be honest about it, we weren't going to do anything at all in that season.
Right?
Was that fair?
No, 100%, 100%. And so, where was the kind? This isn't even a challenge on Ange Postecoglou. This is more of a challenge on the people that interviewed him. If they have the gumption and the gall and the stones to be able to call him out behind his back or in front of a camera, I mean, Jamie Carragher and Ange Postecoglou had many sort of crossword spoken.
I agree. But it's all very different. It's all very different, Shawnee, when they're in the same room together and they're trying to get information out of Ange and they're trying to get an interview for interview purpose. Because all that interview has done is they made it very clear after the first one. It was their quickest to 1 million in terms of their view count, right? So from the overlaps perspective, they're not there to feed into the narrative that Tottenham fans want to hold into accountability. All they care about is some of the big things that will come out of that interview, big headlines from Ange. They're not doing that interview on behalf of Tottenham or in benefit of Tottenham fans. They're doing that interview to get the most out of Ange Postecoglou.
Is it the benefit of Tottenham fans, or is it just the benefit?
I think that's the problem, Shawnee. I think it's the benefit of football fans, because if you saw what the line they led on in that interview, the first thing printed from the national media in general was Tottenham aren't a big club. Right. Ange Postecoglou was not saying Spurs aren't a big club. What Ange Postecoglou was saying is that Spurs don't act like a big club. At the time when he was at the club, they're not willing to pay the wages. He listed off the players that he wanted to sign, like Stel said in his opening intro. They wanted to sign Gahey. They wanted to sign Semenyo. Forgive me, Neto as well. But in reality, he got Solanke and 3 teenagers. So it goes back to what Stel said in his original piece, that I don't think Ange Postecoglou wanted Bergvall, wanted Archie Gray. No, all due respect, these players might be good for Tottenham in the future. He wanted proven players that were going to come in and directly impact the first team. But the reality is, I fear this is where we're always going to be. We're always going to be here under this current ownership. And until there is a significant change at board level, and I'm talking as in the Lewis family maybe stepping away and someone coming in and putting football first and Tottenham first, my worry is this is what we're only going to be. We're only going to be existing. We're never actually going to develop as a football club back to where we want to be.
Sean,
fair enough.
I know the guys are going to come in next. Can I say one thing quickly on what you asked Ricky? Two very quick points. Jamie Carragher slammed Ange all season, but in the Europa Cup final, he was the one that interviewed Ange on TV. Mika Richards turned around to Ange and said, I always believed and you always told them. And Carragher apologised to him live on air. And the other thing, this thing about Ange changing...
hang on. But that was in the moment. And then since then, and Mickey van der Ven, Christian Romero, there's been lots of new nuance that's come out since that explained why there was the pivot to the tactics that got us over the line.
Yeah, but I was about to come on to that. That's the second thing.
I'm not having a crack at Ange Postecoglou. I'm having a crack at the interviewers for not doing a good enough service. And sorry, Stel, let me just quickly, because I'm going to let you come back in. But just to push back on what Ricky was saying that they're after the views and everything. But in that interview, that interview might have been handled over 2 weeks, but the interview was participated in one session, right? He would have been there for an hour, 2 hours, whatever else. So they wouldn't have known what the reaction would have been to the views until after the fact. So they went in either with a predisposed agenda of how they were going to softball it, or they handled it in real time. And to me, I'm sitting there thinking, listen, he's a very good salesman, Ange Postecoglou, and you're always going to buy into someone who says things that they want to hear. But for me, when he's making the answers that he wants, if he said himself, I didn't challenge the narrative of the club in the moment when I wasn't happy with the windows that I was given, because it's a self-deprecating thing. You're not going to go anywhere if you call out the club, right? So if you can at least acknowledge that in the first instance, in the first season, when he could have criticized the ownership, he could have criticized the board, he didn't. Then he said by his own volition, I didn't do it because it was self-preservation tactics, because it never ends well. Then if you're at least giving him the credit then on it by his own words that he is interested in, he's motivated by self-preservation tactics, then you should also by that same mantra question whether or not what he's saying after the fact is also in self-preservation tactics. Therefore, he's going to say things against the club now that the club don't have a chance to defend themselves because it looks better for Ange, just like it might have been at the time. Sorry, Stel, carry on with what you were going to say.
Yeah, what I was going to say is Carragher apologised to him live on air. Whether it was in the moment or not, he apologised to him. And with regards to Ange being a salesman, fans are salesmen. Fans wanted Poch out. They sold the idea of Nuno being sacked and Conte being sacked and Mourinho being sacked. Our fans sell the idea of sacking managers too. So if he's a salesman, so are we. And the last point I wanted to make, Sean, was this thing that the players made Ange change his tactics. I don't buy it. I think they went into his office and said, Gaffer, we can't keep doing this every single game. And Ange probably turned around and said, you know what? I think you're right. And they came to an agreement, because if you look at the Europa Cup quarter-final, semi-final, we were not defensive in the first leg. Against Frankfurt and against Bodo, we were on the front foot. The away legs, 100%, there was a complete change of stance. Complete change. So I think there was an agreement struck between player and manager, in my view, based on what I saw actually happen in the games.
But you don't, what I'm saying is, so you're dismissing the fact that Mickey van der Ven has actually come out and said what happened.
It's open to interpretation. I think Mickey van der Ven did approach Ange. No, what I'm saying, Johnny, I think there's a balance there. I think Mickey van der Ven said, Gaffer, we can't do this every game. But I think Ange accepted, I think you're right. And they came to an agreement where there was some kind of balance. Because at home, in the first leg against Frankfurt and Bodo, mate, we were on the front and changed tactics. In the away legs, we were completely different. We were far more defensive. It was a different approach. You could see.
I was there. Yeah.
If you have to motivate, if you have to question the motivations of the messenger, it's something I always say in life about everything, right? Like, if we're looking for reasons to believe Paratici, when Paratici left and he said the reason I'm leaving is because, or the reason I'm joining Fiorentina is because I want to work for ambitious owners. Most people that are anti-ENIC are going to say, see, another bit of evidence. Okay, cool, fair enough, right? Then he also said, I also want to be listened to. So if you want to buy into that narrative of you listen to the guy who's speaking, fine, but he's also maybe just defending his decision to leave. You don't know whether people are telling the truth.
No, I agree with you, Sean. I agree he's protecting himself as well. I do agree.
I don't know what Mickey van der Ven benefits from basically undermining Ange Postecoglou after the fact, but I can see what Ange Postecoglou benefits from saying that it was all nothing to do with the club.
I think what Van der Ven said, the interpretation can be taken in a few different ways. It's not just as black and white. We told the gaffer changed it and he changed. I think there's a bit more nuance to it. That's what I'm trying to say.
But do you not think that listening to that interview, there's only one person that's responsible for winning the Europa League, and that's Ange Postecoglou? It was like, what about the other?
Yeah, it came across that way. Yes, it came across that way.
Yeah, and I listen. As I said, I would have had more respect for him had he had said, like, I got things wrong. Look, you can't lose 41 or 60 games and, not be responsible. Listen, I understand why you changed, because that night in Bilbao was a special night when you've waited 17 years for such a night. But I think a lot of people got carried away in the moment. I know people who were 100% Ange out. And after that night, for the first week, the euphoria of that win, they were like, oh my God, he's got to stay. And then a week later, they were saying, you know what, I've had to think about it now, and like, it was an amazing night, but all said and done, we lost so many games. And I'm really not sure. There was such a void in our medical department that we've been trying to fill. I just don't think, no matter had it been Ange Postecoglou, Pochettino, Thomas Frank, or whoever, no one has addressed the serious issue of why we have more injuries than anybody else by a considerable margin. And when you look at the amount of games that Arsenal are playing, and they've got far less injuries than us. But I think that would have been exacerbated probably with his high line and the amount of work, the workload that was needed to be done, all those things. But for me, I struggled with the second one. In fact, I turned it off. I've got to be honest with you. I had to turn it off because I just wanted a morsel of, responsibility from him. And I wanted them to play devil's advocate a little bit. You know,
Correct.
there's
So that's
there's,
all I
you
wanted.
know,
I'm not even
yeah.
that angry with Ange. I'm more angry.
No. I mean, Ange's doing what Ange's doing. Ange's
Yeah.
protecting himself for his next job. He's doing what he should be doing. But I believe, as an interviewee, between the 5 of them that were there, not one of them could raise a question or try and eke out something. So, Ange, you know, what did you feel? Where did you feel you went wrong at Spurs? What did you feel that you did wrong? Right, that you could have
nothing like that, was
kept your job, but there was nothing like that, and that's why I felt. Listen, how many times when we did Devil's Advocate with you, me, and Dave, you sit there and you would throw a curveball, even if you agreed on it. But hang on a minute, what is this? What of that? What of the other?
Oh, I missed that show. That was a great show.
Yeah, but you,
Johnny,
yeah.
Don't you think though, he gets away with it to some degree because of what's happened with every single manager before him under Enid?
Oh, yeah.
Because of that,
That's
it's
not the
almost
job.
like, do you know what? Fair play, Ange, because we've seen this 100 times before.
But to say you're not been backed when you've had 380 million pounds, right?
But he means
that
equality of
leaving.
players, not
I know,
financial expenditure.
I know, but listen, he
That's not the point
demanded.
of an interviewer, right? You're supposed to like even if they all think the same way, you're supposed to like park that nonsense and then challenge the interviewee. Otherwise, it's a softball interview. Let me bring.
But that's my point. But that's my point, Sean. Do you not think they're being that way with him because of what they've seen happen with every manager before him?
No, you still
No,
question.
they are, but they shouldn't be either way. They shouldn't be either way. They should be sitting there saying, "Hang on a second, you're taking all the credit, none of the blame for anything. You didn't. No one up. We didn't ask you about 17th. We barely asked you about 17. You didn't have to explain that. And when you said that you got us to, you're a winner. You did what no one else has done because you play your way, right? He said, "I'm never going to change, mate." I literally said, "You'll never change me. You'll never change me. I'm a vociferous watcher of football. All I do is watch football. If there's a game of football,
Hello, so do we.
I watch that game. So does everybody else in who's watching this show right now. If there's a game of football on tonight, if you're not watching us, you're watching that. You're probably doing both at the same time. Okay, it's not something to celebrate. But hang on a second. You're never going to change me." But the players did, or at least that's the suggestion. Can we talk about that for a second? There was none of that. So, Lubo, let me bring you in because you've been waiting.
Can I just add, just before Lubo comes in, sorry, there was no mention of the record breaking. I'm a record breaker. I'm great, but he didn't want to talk about the records that no one wants to talk about. The least wins without being relegated, finish where we finished, the amount of defeats in the season. Right, none of that was discussed, and that should have been highlighted as much as the victory, because without that victory in Bilbao, he would go down as probably one of the worst managers we've ever had in our history, without any doubt.
Lubo, sorry, mate, you've been waiting, super patient, mate. What's your thoughts on all this?
No, listen, I agree with a lot of what's been said. Let me just add that the overlap is a bunch of footballers, highly rated, highly regarded footballers with a great history who are sitting around a table having a chat. None of them are Andrew Neil. You won't get an interview like an Andrew Neil when he absolutely skewered Corbyn many years ago. You're just not going to get that sort of interview out of these guys. Ange's never. I would have had more respect if Ange had said, "You know what? If he'd have spoken about getting things wrong in terms of the tactics, but putting it right, however he wanted to spin it to end up with the Europa League, but at least put his hand up for something, then I think that everybody would have had a lot more respect for him. I know I would have done, because when you go from job A to job B or job L to job M, people will talk to you and you'll learn. We're learning all the time, and we all make mistakes. None of us are perfect. So for a chairman to be interviewing Ange for his next job, I'm sure that chairman would have seen Ange's history, Ange's record at a top club in a top league, and actually would have thought to himself, "Do you know what? He didn't put his hand up at all." I would have actually thought to myself, if somebody makes a mistake in a job and they recognise it, then they're recognising it, and that would give a new employer a lot more confidence because he made mistakes previously. He's not going to make the same mistakes again. But if he's not accepting that he's made mistakes, and my God, I mean, worst coach I've ever seen in 60 years of following Tottenham by an absolute mile, by a mile. If he's not putting his hand up when he goes for the next job, the chairman or DOF, whoever it is, CEO, is interviewing him, going to say, well, Ange, what did you think of the last job? Talk to me about Tottenham and Nottingham Forest. And if he turns around and says, oh, I shouldn't have taken the Forest job, different style of football to what I play, that's fair enough. The question then is, but if they played a different style and they were fairly successful last season with a different style, and the recruitment have bought players for that certain style, why didn't you play that certain style? So these are the questions that should be asked. You're never going to get people like Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher asking those questions. So it wasn't a surprise.
They ask those. They do ask those questions
of others.
Or they ask those questions when talking about Ange on Monday Night Football, on Super Sunday, and all that stuff. But they get the chance in front of him, and they don't ask him anything.
I don't know. Listen, they're building up a very successful podcast. It brought them the amount of views they wanted. So for them, it's a success. They don't give a shit whether Spurs fans are happy or unhappy. You know,
but is that journalism? Like I was going to say to you, Lubo, right? Remember all the conversations that Ange Postecoglou had post-game. Not one of those questions remotely replicated a difficult question that he got post-game throughout his 2-year tenure, right? But he was very happy to take all the plaudits in those first 10 games when they said, you're the Pep, you're the Pep double. I taught him everything I know, all the banter, all the love that he got. And understandably, because he was 10 games in unbeaten. But as soon as it went sour, he was arguing with the press. He was fighting everybody. He took exception to every single question that he said was stupid, aimed at him. All I'm saying is, and what I don't know if Sean, I can't speak for Sean, but a lot of people that I've spoken to, they're just asking for just come on, press him a little bit. I understand he's not going to be Andrew Neil, but this, it might as well have been done by what's the name from Bake Off. I mean, like, it was so soft.
Johnny, the problem is
Crew Leaf.
The problem is he came across with a really innovative way of playing football. He played 2 at the back, played 5 in midfield with 2 fullbacks as inverted 10s. First 10 games, he's got 26 points. He's averaging 2.6. The rest of the Premier League coaches, they're not Premier League coaches because they're idiots. They're up there because they're of a certain level. They're cute. They got to grips with it. We saw Gary O'Neill on Monday Night Live on Sky, didn't we? Pointing everything out.
Gave the template.
And the next, from Chelsea onwards, Johnny, to Sheffield United on the last game of the season, the average went down from 2.6 to 1.4. So if you're looking at that and you're thinking, you know what, I've had a great start, but they've sussed me a little bit. I need to adapt here. I need to change it a bit for season 2. No, not interested. My way or the highway, and carry on. And this is why he will never be a top manager at a top club, because he doesn't put together a style that is sustainable for several years.
Luba, I think you're being harsh. Listen, he came into a club that was in meltdown. He got us 5th in his first season, and what everyone's going to say is but no Europe. Listen, it doesn't matter. He got us 5th. In his second season, he had a lot of injuries, as did Frank. I think we've got to factor that in for both Frank and Ange. Hold on. We were 90 minutes away from a Carabao Cup final last year, and we had to go to Anfield, which we never win at, and he won the first leg as well. So, listen, Carabao Cup semi-final, Europa Cup trophy, Champions League qualification, fitted his first season. Aren't we being a bit harsh on this guy? Just a little bit.
Well,
I'm not being harsh on any of that. I'm just all I'm asking him to do is to accept, or at least to acknowledge.
But Lubo's sitting there going this, that, and 2.1 went to 1.6.
Well, those things are also facts. They're also facts, right? They are also facts.
So he's almost getting to a Carabao Cup final, winning a trophy, finishing 5th.
That's fine.
But still, I was at Anfield that day, as was Johnny.
I told you not to go, remember? I said, don't go.
We're fans. We've got to go.
I went up for that.
I said
5%. We didn't get home till 4:15, did we, Johnny? On the coach, it was a long day.
Horrendous,
it was like a
horrendous.
15-hour day. And
That's your fault.
we both went up there for the 5% chance. Just maybe we had an.
We were never going to win it.
Minutes,
never.
we scored, and then somehow, refereeing decisions would go with us. The ball would break. It would fall.
We never win at Anfield, man. We never.
And we were a mile away from that final. We were so far away from getting through to that Carabao Cup final. It's all very well saying
we went there with a 1-0 lead, you know.
We were miles off it still. They were so much better than us.
So why did you go then? So why did you go if you felt
as I said, because I'm a fan and there was that 5% chance. Right. And you know what? I didn't go to City for the 4-0 the other year, and you kick yourself as an away fan. I go to most games, chose not to go to that one. I went this year and I was there. And you know what? When you're there, it's absolutely fantastic. Those away days when they come off, particularly at the big clubs, are amazing, aren't they, Johnny? They're just superb. Yeah. But what I will say is that
you can't not go. You can't not go, Stel.
I mean, semi-final.
The semi-final. To follow them through thick and thin and to go to the four corners of the earth, watching them.
That's right.
But we knew we were going to lose. I said to Lubo, you know what's going to happen. You know how upset you're going to feel. That horrible journey back, mate. Don't do it. Like you knew what was coming in that.
It's blind.
But still, I come out that stadium. Ricky will tell you, like I came out saying 22 times. I'm coming out of stadiums. This team, and I'm getting people messaging me. Why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? Because I have to, because it's a virus, it's a disease, and that there's no known cure, right? You have to just keep going through it. Spursitis, mate. It's Spursitis.
Your Spursitis still exists without Ange, because he's gone and look at us. What's changed? What's changed?
Can we forget about it? We spent 41 minutes on that. I just wanted to cover the interview. I can tell by the chat. The chat is over Ange. We just had to cover it because it was like a pertinent topic today. Can we move on to?
We're not doing Frank now, though, are we? Don't want to go talk about Frank, are we now? For God's sake.
Well, whenever his interview is out, Ricky, we will be the first ones to drop.
Can't do 41 minutes, boys, on Frank. For God's sake, we'll kill them all off. We'll have no chance. We'll kill everybody off.
Right, let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on. Ricky, listen. Massive game on Sunday, a huge game on Sunday. But before we actually get to the specifics of how we go about it, let's talk a little bit about, I know this is a Tottenham show, but we have to spend a little bit of time talking about the context of what's coming up. And it is, of course, Arsenal. We've discussed this many times on this channel. And, there's been arguments about it, but actually between the four of us before.
No, what arguments are there? You're joking.
No, believe it or not, it happens every now and again. It does happen.
This is the car show. No one riles up on here, do they?
Yeah, this is the overlap part 2.
Yeah, the overlap part 2.
I thought it was all the ex-pros. I came in for all the ex-pros. It was the ex-pros.
Yeah, sorry. They're coming next week, Ricky. They're coming next week. Tonight, we're going to be talking about Arsenal. And listen, I think that it's fair to say that there has been some debates on here regarding what matters more to Tottenham fans. Is it, the City game, for example, was one such example, right? Like, is it more about Tottenham winning, Tottenham staying up, Tottenham doing Tottenham things, or stopping Arsenal winning? And obviously, we knew that the game was coming up on Sunday, but last night, Wolves added a little bit more smoke, a little bit more sizzle to the steak, and I think does it not add a little bit more to the conversation? It adds a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more context into whether or not Tottenham should approach this game in a certain way, because there's evidence. There's a little bit of consistent evidence, Ricky, over the last couple of weeks that Arsenal are starting to do what Arsenal do. I know Stelios sung his song at the start of the show. I'm sure he's going to sing it again when he gets his chance. But Ricky, what's your kind of position right now on what we've seen in the last couple of weeks from Arsenal? A draw against Brentford, a draw against Wolves. If we can get a result, how does it change? How does it change the kind of the environment, the energy going in from Tottenham fans and from Arsenal fans going into this weekend?
Well, for Arsenal, it's 2 wins in the last 7. They've had obviously a couple of good cup wins within there that's got them to a League Cup final. But the reality is that we've seen that when you pressurise Arsenal and put them in difficult positions, they at the moment, from what we've seen so far this season, haven't really got the bottle to see out games, you know. And I think you look at the fact that it's a Wolves side that we also struggled at home to take points off. We've got to be real about that. We were very lucky to get a point in the last minute, thanks to Polina. That I think we need to go into Sunday, and I've said this on last one on Spurs, you know, there is such an amount of anger and frustration around the board, around Enoch, around Vinay, around Johan Lang, and I think everyone is well within their rights to feel like that. But I just think when we all get into that stadium on Sunday, for those that are going, that we just all need to get behind the team, get behind the manager, because I do think the first goal in this game is so crucial. I think if Tottenham get the first goal in this game, that stadium will be brilliant anyway. The noise in that stadium will be amazing. I think the fans will get behind the team, but if we get the first goal, we could make this place really uncomfortable for Arsenal. And my concern is if it flips the other way and Arsenal get the first goal, that feeling of going into that stadium, which I know many have had to encounter this season, for those that, of course, watch this show and listen to it back, it's been a tough stadium to go to this season on so many occasions that I think we do need to get the first goal in this game. If it goes the other way, I'd be really concerned. My feeling is that with the change of manager, hopefully this will give everybody a bit more positivity and belief. I mean, you look at the stark contrast between, I'm sure you might come on to this, Igor Tudor's in-house interview compared to Thomas Frank's. It's all very well, you know, to look back in hindsight now and see certain things, but he spoke about trying to play on the front foot, spoke about trying to have a system in place for players that are going to approach the game in a way that will be beneficial to them. I do feel maybe they gave him a heads up in terms of maybe Frank's approach towards the end of his time at Tottenham, because you heard Igor Tudor say, I never know if a manager's a play for a draw. And it felt like under Frank, that was the approach towards the end of his time at Spurs. So I would be very intrigued to know if he was given that as a line to kind of say in the in-house interview, or whether he actually has generally been watching Spurs in the last few weeks before he got the job. Because, look, the concern about Igor Tudor, and rightly so, fans can have their concerns, hasn't got Premier League experience, hasn't got knowledge of the Premier League, never been a Premier League player. So you have to hope that his experience of leading big teams like Juventus, like Lazio, being in a situation where whenever he's gone into a club, he seems to get immediate results from the start. Yes, long-term, doesn't appear to do well, but it's all about really the fact we need this guy to come in, get 4 league wins out of 12, keep us in the Premier League. That's all the guy has to do. And if he beats Arsenal and gets us to a, even I can't believe I'm saying this, is that crazy Tottenham as a club? If we were to reach a Champions League final, which personally I don't think we can, just with the body of players we've got and the amount of injuries we've got, I mean, the guy would be a hero. So I think Igor Tudor will approach this job thinking he's got nothing to lose whatsoever. But in terms of the Arsenal game, we need to go in full belief, back the manager, back the players, and just get behind the team now for what is going to be 12 crucial games in our season to retain our Premier League status. Because the reality is, the form table, we're bottom of. Forest have changed their manager. Okay, yeah. So you have to look and bear that in mind. You look at West Ham, they've won 5 out of the last 7. So right now, Spurs need to pick up points quick, because teams around us have made their changes and gone on a run, and we need to start going on a run ourselves to keep our Premier League status.
Ricky, do you think the Champions League, like there's a few games here coming up before we play the Champions League game, and given Arsenal's, I don't know, kind of shaky form, the fact that there's all the pressure, that the second again, the bottlers again, it looks like Arteta's commentary, I've never seen such a weak reaction after the game. He usually comes out with super kind of confidence. It looks like they are all,
they're imploding. Could be imploding. Yeah,
they are. They possibly are. If Tottenham can get a result out of the Arsenal game, whether it's a draw but a decent performance, in a dream world scenario, a victory, and then you go to Fulham, is there a chance that Tottenham Hotspur could potentially have enough points? When you look at the ridiculously tough run-in that Forest have got, Forest run-in is horrendous. And you look at West Ham, obviously a bit of form here. Is there a chance that Tottenham shouldn't have to deprioritize the Champions League? Like, can you see Tottenham getting over the next 3 games before they play the Champions League? Is there a chance that you could see Tottenham getting to a position where the threat of relegation is almost null and void, and then actually throw more weight into the Champions League, sort of like what Ange Postecoglou had the permission to do last year? I'm not suggesting we go on and win it, but You know, you can see where my mind's going with
No,
that.
I hear you, Shawnee. I think it already depends on how we come out of the Arsenal game, because suddenly that Arsenal game can give you real momentum. Or I hate to say this, if we get pumped 4 or 5-0, suddenly there's a lot of question marks around what have we done bringing Tudor in. We've made a terrible choice. He's got no Premier League experience, and we've got 11 games to go to save our status. So this is the nature of what Sunday looks like. It really is that big in terms of if we can get anything out of the Arsenal game, that could be a real moment that sparks us in terms of then the 11 remaining Premier League games, and we deal with the Champions League surely as it comes. But my worry is if it goes the other way, then Sunday does the Champions League look like an unwelcome, distraction. Right. Do we need that? Do we need the headache of the Champions League when we've got 11 games to preserve our Premier League status, and at the same time, with West Ham and the run they're on, with Forest changing the manager, all teams right now are in fear. And that's the only thing I agree. I don't want to go back to the Ange interview, but I do agree with that. All teams are in fear, whether it be for their place in the Premier League, trying to achieve Champions League, trying to achieve Europa League football. We live in now a fearful society. But my biggest concern is that, again, I don't know if you're going to come on to this. You see with the coaching staff shake-up in this last fortnight, in these last 33 days of John Heitinger coming and going out, what that should show every Spurs fan out there is that when they hired Heitinger 33 days ago, Johan Lang and Vinay Venkatesham, it never entered their mind they would be sacking Thomas Frank a month ago. So what does that say about the ball that we've got, the football knowledge that we've got, that no one in their mind even thought a month ago this isn't working? Where if you were to watch this show, other podcasts across the internet, any Tottenham fan you speak to, 2, 3, 4 months ago, I mean, I know Stell was there even at the earlier point of the season. Everyone was saying this isn't working.
Stell was there before he was signed.
The point I'm making is that
Stell had his cup. It's still actually made the Frank out cup back in January last year.
But this is the crazy thing that we're at, is that no one, it appears, in that board even thought about the fact they were going to have to sack Thomas Frank. And then you're hearing suggestions that even when they had to sack him, there was a split on the board about that. So I think there's just so many problems in and around the football club where we know there is massive, massive issues internally, externally. We just need to somehow, in that stadium on Sunday, get behind the team, get behind the manager, because right now this team needs our support. And I've said this on numerous occasions, that my concern for me is if we do drop into that bottom 3, I don't think we've got the bollocks to get out of it. That'll be my concern, that with the group we've got, with the limited players that we've got, if we drop in that bottom 3...
And zero experience in the dogfight of relegation.
Exactly. I'll tell you what, even worse than that, Odebear has been part of a relegation. There's a few players that have been. Madison's been part of a relegation.
80% of the Leeds team have faced it before. West Ham have faced it before. Forest have faced it before.
This is the massive concern. We've got to somehow, surely, in the next few games, dig out points. Because if we drop in, like I say, that relegation zone, I'm terrified if we'll get out of it. Because even as fans, we're not great handling any kind of pressure. And that pressure will transcend, as we see, from the stadium onto the pitch. That's a big problem, a massive problem.
Yeah, love that, Ricky. I think we will have time before the end of the show to talk a little bit more about the bigger picture of what's going on. I think we spoke about it on the last show regarding who was it that was making the decisions and what does that really look like. We can certainly go back into that towards the end of the show. Lubo, let me bring you in on the Arsenal setup right now going into it. Arsenal, like flaky yesterday, 2-0 up. Never before has a team that leads the Premier League ever given up a 2-goal lead against a team, not just bottom, but in the bottom 3, and Arsenal have done it. I watched. I was so in. I'm not someone that cares about Arsenal as much as most of you. I'm sure all 4 of you. I don't know Arsenal fans, so I'm always someone that says I don't really care about them. But like last night was fun. I had 4 different Arsenal fan TV type shows on, and all night long. I fell asleep. Listening to people going "Feast up, Honda," or doing their thing. Right? It was fun. It's fun to listen to them meltdown at each other. You know, you back this guy, like the meltdown, the bickering, all that stuff was going off. Lubo, is it the perfect time to play Arsenal, or is it the worst time to play Arsenal?
It's a bit of both, isn't it? It's a bit of both. Because it depends when Arsenal come out. They're vulnerable at the moment. You know, but they may be looking at this as the perfect game to bounce back. They've just dropped 4 points to Brentford and Wolves. For me, Sunday's about us, not them. It's about how we turn up. And for me, at 6:30, if those players have come off the pitch and given everything for the badge, then I'll be delighted, whatever the result. They're still a good team. Yes, that they're having a rocky spell. I think they've won 2, drawn 4, and lost 1 of their last 7 games. So they've dropped 11 points out of 24, which is mid-table. That's mid-table form. It's not Premier League winning form. But by the same token, they've also just lost 1 out of the last 20, which is pretty good as well. So listen, they're coming in to hopefully what will be a cauldron. I hope the Spurs fans really go after them the way they did when Conte beat them 3-0. And for me, it's about Spurs. And do you know what? If we give a great performance and we come out on the wrong end of the results, for me, I've looked at the 12 games. There's Arsenal, Villa, Chelsea, Liverpool. The other 8, I think we can get points from all of them and several wins. So for me, it's
You're not worried about relegation then?
No. When we spoke on Monday, I gave us 18 out of 36 points.
You did, and I think you gave Forest the fewest out of all of us.
And I gave Forest 6, which was the same as Johnny and yourself.
Meanwhile, Forest won tonight 3-0 away from home.
Okay, but
that's going to be them. That's going to be a distraction for them potentially.
Yeah, but Europe and the style of football, the style of football that opponents play in Europe is completely different, as we found in the Champions League. We get far more time to play our football than we do on every Saturday, Sunday. So mind you, that was at Fenerbahce, wasn't it, Forest? So
yeah, the toughest game, by the way, of all of the fixtures tonight. That was a tough one.
It's a good win, mate. It's a good win.
Very good win. It's a good win. Listen, we need to get the points. We can't worry about anybody else. I still think 12 points from 12 games will keep us up. I don't see West Ham winning 5, to be honest, or 6 to stay up.
We said that 6 games ago.
No, listen, but listen, they've had some good results. Can they sustain it? I think both forwards are injured now that came in. I know one's definitely injured. Both went off during the last match. So let's see. But for me, it's about how we listen. New manager, North London derby, 5th from bottom. If these players don't turn up on Sunday, they need a massive rocket up their backsides. Honestly, it'll be disgraceful. It'll be totally unprofessional if they don't turn up. Whatever the result, I expect to see the most effort put in from our team all season on Sunday.
Yeah, fair enough, mate. Fair enough. Stella, I'll come to you in a moment. I know I'll come to you first, then come to you last. But I'm gonna share it around. But Johnny, let me bring you in. Arsenal, same sort of question, mate. Take it where you want. I'd ideally throw something new into the mix. Is it the best time to play them or the worst time to play them? Is it the best time for us to get this out, get this, Igor Tudor, debut for the man, baptism of fire? Here we go. How do we do it?
Yeah, listen, look, I've just checked the weather forecast, and so have the board, and the news is that the board have arranged to bring in and rent out 47 fans, which are going to be blowing air so that we can get a swirling wind. Because apparently it was the swirling wind that caused Arsenal to lose. So the board are using every means possible to give us that extra advantage.
How do AFTV always find a fan to do that every single time?
I mean, I was laughing. I thought it was a parody until I realised that it wasn't. It was a real. It was a real thing. It was a real thing. Look, I was very surprised last night because at 2-0. Bless you. Wolves were there for the taking, and yet they sat back. I don't think they had any belief. They almost encouraged Wolves to score that last goal. The mentality was there. It was like something happened. I think they were quite confident, but when that goal went in, when Bueno's goal went in, they were like looking at each other like, what the hell just happened? And then there was a bit of a fear in their eye. And then they reverted to what Arsenal do best, going down, holding their heads, making out that they've just been poleaxed by every challenge. And you just hoped that Wolves got what they deserve. Because, with Merce before the game giving it large that there's no way they were going to lose the game. Well, they didn't lose, but they were going to get 4 points. And you had Alan Smith when Saka scored that first goal. I fear for Wolves tonight. It's going to be. It could easily be a hatful that they're going to score tonight, and it didn't. It didn't occur. It didn't happen. But the one thing that we talked about, the template that broke Ange Postecoglou, that Gary O'Neill put out. The template, if you want to beat Arsenal, you want to challenge Arsenal, is get in their face. We saw it at Sunderland, we saw it at Brentford, and we saw it last night in the second half. Right. Wolves challenged them. They stood up to them. They gave as good as they got, and Arsenal couldn't take it. They couldn't take it. You saw that they were getting feisty. There was anger.
Right, you're absolutely right.
There was anger. I mean, Gabriel should have been
sent
off.
By the way, this season, not for the first time.
No, they should. I feel Sunderland
Every team that throws caution to the wind and gets aggressive seems to get better results than those that become meek and play up against them.
Yeah, the one thing though that concerns me is I've been called a conspiracy theorist because I say that Arsenal consistently have to make more challenges than anybody else before they get a yellow card or anything happens. And you gave me some stats today, Sean, that they have to make on average 7 tackles before they get
tackles per yellow card. 7.6 fouls per yellow card for Arsenal, the highest in the league. Manchester United 7.4, and Tottenham the other end 4.1.
Yeah, so almost half,
almost double the amount of fouls to get a yellow card if you're an Arsenal player than you are a Tottenham player.
And, you know, and I think a lot of it is down to the fact that Arsenal practice every known dark art. That's acting, diving, screaming, body language. They do everything. Everything is questioned, challenged. And no one pulls them up on it. And if it gives them that extra bit, then, you know, so be it. It's up to the other managers in the league to match it. And if they choose not to, that's up to them. But for me, I think 3 at the back could help us because I believe if Porro can somehow be fit, I'm not sure if he is fit or he can play, but if he can and we can have Jed Spence and him and Paulinho and Mickey van der Ven and Dragusin playing the role that he played at Genoa in the middle of a back 3, we might have half a hope of getting something there. Richie's been back in training since Monday. I think, look, I think we have to give it everything. And the crowd, guys, there's no point you going there to bitch about the team, right? Regardless, even if we go 1 down, we've got to support this team to the end of the game. And only by doing that, we can sit there and say, we've done our part. And all I want to see is the players go out there and give it all. And I think we'll be able to tell quite quickly as to the commitment of those players to what Tudor's told them. One thing's for sure, you don't shake Tudor's hand or you walk off without speaking to Tudor, you're going to get it because he's not afraid of confronting anybody. So there'll be no shit. He will like the aggressive players. And luckily, we have a few of those that are fit currently. So I just think we got to go get at them. We can't have any fear, Sean. If we go out and we attack them and we get beaten 2-3-0, then so be it. But as Ricky said, I do fear that this fan base will turn against Tudor very quickly and to the board. And quite rightly, the board is clueless. The board is absolutely clueless. Johan Lang is absolutely clueless.
What comes that?
Yeah.
We'll come to that second.
Yeah.
100%. But by the way, just very quickly before I bring Stelling on this one, Rob, I'm not suggesting that 8 fouls from the same player. The statistic was just that across the team, 7.6 fouls equals a yellow card for Arsenal versus 4 equals 1.
Can I just add one last thing? I probably won't get time to do it, but the news that not only have AIA backed out and now gone to become our training kit sponsor, there is rumours of major sponsors now saying they don't want to be involved with the club anymore due to the toxicity, due to the other stuff. And let me tell you,
this is Matt Law doing what Matt Law does. I don't know if
but
relationship with Matt Law, so I'm not going to say anything that bad about him in front of Ricky. I won't do that. But Matt Law has
listen, Shawnee, the thing with Matt Law, because I know your opinion on Matt Law. I think the thing with Matt is that I know a lot of people don't like Matt because again they see him as a journalist that just
he doesn't say anything nice. He never bad content about Tottenham.
No, I get that. I mean, look, I'm not here as a defending judge for Matt Law anyway. I'm not his barrister or whatever. But all I would say is that he does have a relationship with the football club in terms of contacts there, and I don't feel there's a real. I mean, look, I get your point in terms of the way fans feel about Matt Law, but I don't see any benefit of him coming out and leaking negative news about Tottenham. I just think the reality is kind of where we are at the moment. It goes back to what Stel said a long time ago, is that because of the toxicity around the board and the toxicity around the stadium, that is directly going to impact sponsors. It is going to impact sponsors. So it goes back to Stel.
Said it for weeks.
I know Stel said in the past about protesting that. I know this is a point that you raised Stel a long time ago about the protests do have a direct impact in terms of sponsors, people looking in the stadium and thinking, do we want to be part of this in general? I don't want to come away from it because I know you want to make the point a bit later on, but I do think there's a wider concern, which I know you're going to come on to shortly, around where we're going and what we're doing, which I do think feeds into this. But to answer your point, Sean, I do understand those that aren't really a fan of Matt Law. I kind of get that, but I think what he's brought into the domain is what a lot of people, I think.
Yeah, but a lot, so just quickly, again, I'm not trying to attack him because I think he's a Chelsea fan or anything. I've never seen him put out anything positive.
He's a Villa fan, by the way.
He's a Villa fan, whatever. But he a lot of the stuff that he said last January turned out to be a complete load of bollocks about the financial the sort of liquidity issues or whatever. None of that stuff proved to be true. I've never seen him put out anything positive about Tottenham Hotspur. And in this latest article, he says, "Oh, we can't disclose who the major sponsor is that's going to leave, whatever." People have to sell clicks. Again, I always preface everything that I do by saying, challenge the motivations of the messenger. Right? Yeah. Why are you saying what you're saying? I have never seen him ever say anything positive about Tottenham, and so that's just my take on him. But listen, I'm not saying he's.
No, you're fine. All I would say back to that is it's very hard to find anything positive right now for anyone to write about Tottenham. But no, I totally hear the point you're saying.
Substantiate what you're saying. It's just rumors. Yeah. It's just rumors, isn't it? Why would the club feed him a story about a negative article about a sponsorship that's going to be like? There's no reason for them to sort of feed that. So again, he might have ins, but again. It was him. It was him. It was Ali Gold, and it was Ornstein, the most trusted source, that suggested that both Johan Lang and Vinay Paratici were both pushing for the Igor Tudor signing. At the same time as that Kate lady, the new chief of comms, comes in and needs a PR win after we've all found out from a bunch of different sources that Johan Lang and Vinay Paratici were completely undermined and and overruled in the sacking of Thomas Frank in the first place. Why and obviously Paratici leaving the club. We'll come to it in a second. Let me Stel, you've been waiting patiently. Let's finish off on the Arsenal thing and then we can come back to this in a second.
I'm happy to talk about journalists. I think they're great.
So let's talk about the Arsenal game. Second again, ole. Bottlers again, ole. I know you said that at the start, mate. What's your thoughts on this one, mate? How big of a deal, or how much of a needle mover was it in the kind of energy surrounding Sunday because of what happened last night?
Yeah, this North London derby, out of nowhere, has suddenly become something that everyone's going to watch now. And I'm talking the whole Premier League is going to... The
world is watching this one. Yeah.
There is a lot of hate towards Arsenal, wanting them to lose. Not just from us, but from so many clubs, because they just find their fans so bloody arrogant celebrating the quad in November, right? They never learn. They never ever learn. Just wait and see it to the end of the season. But no, they went early. Look, I think a few things. First of all, Arsenal aren't going to be the team they were against Wolves. I think Arsenal will turn up in this game. They need a performance, okay? And I think they will turn up in this game. Having said that, we deserve a performance, right? That performance against Arsenal at the Emirates was the most horrific North London derby I've ever had to watch as a Spurs fan. We surrendered before we went on the pitch. All the Arsenal fans couldn't believe how easy it was for them. And then these players, they owe it to us. They owe it to us after that comeback against Man City, which opened up the door even more for, we give Arsenal 3 points at the Emirates. We give them another 2 points when we draw with Man City. We deserve something from this game just to say, we're going to take some points off you as well now. We deserve that. Forget the manager, and we, the fans, deserve it. And I think you will see a Tottenham team that shows up. So where you've had El Sakico, El Crapico, this is El Bottlerzo. They're bottling the league. We're bottling staying in the leagues. Someone's bottle's got to burst. And as my friend keeps telling me, pressure burst pipe. So who's under more pressure? Is it Tottenham to get points to stay in the league, or is it Arsenal to not yet again for the fourth year running finish second? I think this is going to be a close game. I don't think Arsenal are going to batter us, but they're going to show up. I don't think we're going to win, if I'm honest with you. I just don't think we're good enough, guys, and I don't think we've got the squad. But we can get a draw from this game. And it will come down to what you guys said. The fans are going to play a massive... We are the 12th man in this game. So,
and will the fans be there still, like they haven't been for most
100% we will be there. We've now got a reason to be there, because what Wolves did has galvanised us. Man City's little surge, catching them up, has galvanised us. A new manager with the hope, and it could just be hope, that we might now get enough points to stay in the league. Because under Frank, all hope had gone. So there's a lot now that's made Spurs fans feel, listen, every week I get phone calls. Stel, do you want a ticket? Stel, do you want a ticket? Stel, can you buy my tickets? And I'm trying to sell tickets. I don't want my tickets. This week, Stel, can you get me a ticket for the Arsenal game? Guys, suddenly everyone wants to come to this game. So we will turn up. I think the Spurs fans will stay with the team. Even if we go 1-0 or 2-0 down, right? We might go 1 or 2-0 up. But if we are in a losing position, we will stay with the team if we can see we're trying to give it a go. Because I've noticed this season, when we played Liverpool, we were 2-0 down, but we tried. We really tried. And we got 1 goal back and we were with them. Against Man City in the second half, we came out with intent and we got behind them even though we were 2-0 down. If we go 1 or 2-0 down and we look lethargic, tired, hopeless, confused, errors, then yeah, we're going to turn. And what Johnny said will happen. We'll turn against Tudor. We'll turn against the board. And it's going to be a very, very toxic day. Then they will batter us.
Is this important still, this stat on the screen here? The last 4 years, I think that includes also the Conte season. I'm not sure I think it includes the Conte season when we pit them to fourth. Their average points in the last 4 seasons from the final 12 games of the season is probably 23, 22 and a half, 23. City's is probably 30, 29, something like that. Does it require Tottenham to win or to not lose, rather, for this momentum to continue?
Sean, I think, like I said to you, who's under more pressure to get this win? Is it Arsenal or Tottenham?
I think Arsenal 1,000,000%.
Right. And pressure bursts pipe. They don't. One thing we know about this Arsenal team under this manager, they really do not like pressure. They're coming into a very pressurized game. And I just feel that's got the recipe for us. If we give it a go, we might nick a draw. I just don't believe we're good enough to beat them, unfortunately. I don't think we've got the bench to beat them. There's 2 things I want to see from Wolves.
Are Wolves a better team than... Just quickly, still. Do Wolves have enough? Because Wolves, if they were given an extra 10 minutes, I think Wolves could have got the winner as well. Arsenal shit themselves in that game.
I don't think Arsenal are going to play like that at White Hart Lane, though, Sean. I think there's going to be more about Arsenal when they come to our ground. I don't think they can... Do you not think the solution for Tottenham is to just do what Brentford did, do what Wolves did? Just go at them. Go at them. Don't show them the respect. Well, this one's going to say, yes, go at them, but I disagree that going to a back 3 in this game makes sense. And the reason is, if we go to a back three with the players we've got against lesser teams like the Burnleys, the Forests, the Palaces, that's the time to do it. I think that's when we can really capitalise. But against this Arsenal team, I don't think going to a back three is a good idea. I think we should go to a back four against Arsenal. And the thing that I'm really concerned about, and I don't know how he's going to fix it because he hasn't had much time to deal with it, is...
He's not going to do a back four.
Now, listen, can I just say, Stel, just to add to what you're saying there, that Rob Edwards last night started the game with 4 at the back. And then after the first goal in the first 10 minutes, he reverted to 5. He played 5 at the back. And from that moment on, they looked a lot more structured and a lot more stable. So whether the...
You're just not going to do a 4 at the back. Like,
no, he's only played 4 games in his entire career. 4 games.
Okay, but if he... Yeah, but hold on 1 second, guys. Let me finish what I was going to say. If he goes to a back 3, that reverts into a back 5 out of possession, that's different. Then there's
that's what he'll do. That's what he'll do.
Okay, Johnny, if he does that, game on. The 2 things I'm concerned about, and he's got to shut it down, and I don't know how he's going to do it because he's not had much time, is 1, every time Newcastle put a ball into our box, we look a complete shambles. This Arsenal team will capitalise on that crap, right? They live off that rubbish. That's their whole season has been based on that nonsense. So we've got to stop those balls coming into our box. And the second thing is, you just know, right? You just know he's been an absolute shambles all season long, completely mismanaged. It's been a terrible signing for them. But that bloody Eze always turns up against us in a Crystal Palace shirt, an Arsenal shirt. If he plays, Paulinho has to sit on him. He's got to man mark Eze because he's the one that I fear the most in that team, bar any of them, because that's the kind of player he is when he plays Tottenham. If we can isolate those crosses, just shut down Eze. You know what? I think we can get something from the game.
He's going to be playing in the middle of a...
like out of possession, Tottenham always drop to a back 5 anyway, regardless.
That's
of
fine then. That's
but
okay.
in possession, if we're progressing, we're not going to be with a 4 at the back. We're going to have like a 2 at the back under Tudor. He throws
too risky. It's too risky.
Yeah, but that's the way he does it.
But you know what though? That's too disrespectful to Arsenal. That's like treating them as if they're absolute crap. Look, guys, they're top of the league for a reason, right? They've had a poor run of games, but how many games have they actually lost? They haven't. They haven't actually lost. Other than Man United, they haven't lost games.
If you're reflecting on Ange's model, right?
Yeah.
What would you have said?
No. I'm talking about what Tudor's going to do.
No, I'm just saying. I know that, but I'm just saying, like, people think of the formation that Ange plays, or that Frank plays, or any manager plays, and it's they sit there and say, because we're starting the game as a 4-4-2 or a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-1 whatever, a diamond, in possession and out of possession, it's entirely different to what it looks like on paper. So, like, Igor Tudor will have a back 3. And he'll have wing backs. It'll be a 3-4-2-1, or however you want to say, or 3-4-1-2, whatever. If he plays Richarlison, but in possession, in progressive possession, when we've had the ball for a minute and a half or whatever else, it's not going to look like what it looks like on paper. And then again, out of possession, it's going to be a bank of 5 and a bank of 4 and a bank of 1. So, like, we talk about the formation as though it's static and stable, but that's just what it looks like on paper. But in reality, the pace of the game is going to dictate what I'm
suggesting. What I'm suggesting is if we're in a back 3 out of possession, that is going to be catastrophic. And I've seen it be catastrophic this season when Frank did it. The reason is we don't have the protection in front of the front 3. Other than Paulinho, there is zero protection. We don't have the players to protect it. We like to think we do, but we don't. They're not at the level against this team. I just don't want us to underestimate Arsenal because they're having a wobble. Now we've got Tudor. We know nothing about Tudor. We've got no idea what this guy's going to do at the club, right? Mm-hmm. I just think Arsenal, they're vulnerable, like Ricky said. I think the fans were going to be super important. If we give it a go, we'll stick with the team the whole game. But I just want him to just really focus on those balls in the box because I think that's Arsenal's biggest danger. And if he goes to a back 3 out of possession, we're gonna regret it. If he does what Johnny said and he goes into a back 5, fine, that's okay. That's all right.
We are out of possession, but Ricky, let me bring you in. Do you think that Stell's worried more about in-play balls into the box? I'm more concerned about set pieces, but I also think that set pieces are an opportunity as well, as much as they are a threat. What's your take?
Sean, same thing. Sorry, Keith. If balls come in from a corner, it's the same. It's just any balls in the box, however they come in.
I think on the point you're making there, Shawnee, you look at the stats. I think City have scored 16 more goals from open play than Arsenal. Arsenal have been the best team in the league when it comes to set pieces and how they've operated them. So the reality is Arsenal will be coming into this game massively relying on set pieces. Whilst when you look at our ratio under Frank in terms of set pieces, it's been good for us because we've kept on the set piece coach, Andreas Jorgensen, we've kept him on. But defensively, it's been a massive problem, I think, under Frank, was our defending of set pieces. Vicario is a big, big problem. I know you guys have said it on this show. He worries me more than anyone at the moment, Vicario. Like, when that ball goes into our box, there doesn't appear to be any kind of sense of he's going to come and claim it, he's going to come and dominate. And that, again, feeds in as much of the concern that when you're in that stadium, already you're nervous. So the nerves double, triple, multiply when you've got a goalkeeper that is unsure what he's going to do. So on your point there around set pieces, yes, they're crucial. They're crucial because Arsenal will 100% target Spurs from set pieces. They'll be aware of how bad we've handled them so far defensively. And then at the same time of that, Spurs, on the other hand, we've used them to our advantage as well with the set piece coach. So it'll play part of the game 100%. But I do think the key, what we've spoken about a lot on the show, Johnny's alluded to it, Stelwas as well, the fans need to stick with the team. They need to stick with the team. And if we go a goal behind, I think this is crucial what we actually saw in that Wolves game. I'm sitting here saying for me that I'm worried we go 1-0 behind because of just the way in which that stadium has been so flat this season. But Wolves are a prime example. Wolves are bottom and are bottom of the Premier League. They're going to be relegated, but the fans seem to stick by the team. They got a worldie go out of nowhere for 2-1, and Arsenal went into defensive mode. Rather than going to kill the game against Wolves, they decided to sit back and try and really retain them, which I think is a fascinating topic now for what Arteta does on Sunday, because everyone is looking at him to say he's got to try and command the game against Tottenham. He's got to try and take the game to Tottenham. Whereas at the same time as Spurs fans, we would perversely like us to try and take the game to Arsenal, which I think, again, makes it for a fascinating encounter. And 100%, the events of the last 24, 48 hours of what's happened to Arsenal or Wolves is definitely going to change 100% how this game is viewed and how Arsenal approach it to the way Tottenham approach it. Arsenal, anyway, needed to approach this game looking to win it. But now, Arteta said it in his post-match press conference, the Tottenham game is a perfect opportunity for them to respond in an North London derby to show how much they want it. And this game is going to come down to how much each team wants it. And like Lubo said, I want to see every Tottenham player come off that pitch at full time feeling like we've left everything on the pitch. And unfortunately, I've not seen that enough this season. Frank has rightly been criticised. The board have rightly been criticised. But I feel like a lot of times the players escape a huge amount of criticism. These are the games, the Arsenals, the Chelseas, the West Hams, the London derbies, which our fans look forward to the most. Let's have it right. The big games. We need to turn up. We need to leave everything on the pitch. And if we see a substandard performance with below par attitude, a lack of desire, a lack of real, I would say, game management in certain situations, fans aren't going to be happy. So that's, for me, a bare minimum that I think.
What happens in that
table.
in that environment, Vicky? I posited to you earlier at the start of this segment. If we can get a win, if Hugo Tudor,
I think a draw would be amazing, but a win would be incredible. I mean, that would change. I think that would completely change the mood. A win would be unbelievable. A win would be unbelievable.
What do you think happens if we do get? I'm not talking about just like lose a competitive game, but if we do go 2-0 down, do we get booed off at half time?
It depends how we're playing. Ricky, don't you think this all comes down to performance?
100%. This game is completely based on performance. If in the first half we've played really, really well, but we've been done by two worldies, okay, I'm not saying fans are going to be clapping them off the pitch and applauding them, but at the same time, what this Arsenal team have got form in doing is they've got form that when the pressure is on them, they can't handle it. So if we got to go early back in the second half and it's 2-1, already their asses are twitching. They're twitching. So is it not important for the fan base to, even if we are 2-0 down at half time, to speak to the plan back man and support the team?
Sure.
I'd implore that, but I think again it comes back to what Stel said a minute ago. It's what type of display have we had in that first half? Are we
not going in for the 50-50s, because that's what fans, also kind of feed off. They feed off tackles, they feed off adrenaline, they feed off how much we're in the game. Like if we are winning the 50-50s and we've been done by 2 worldies, then okay, that's a different story. But if we, like I say, are not in the game, we're 2-0 down, I fear it to be very, very hard to change that mood in that stadium. Just because, Sean, and you know it yourself, and you boys know it again, being at the stadium, losing in that ground has become normalised now. People are used to it. They're expecting it. And that's the concern about the league form. I think it's a 15% home record of wins since Frank has been there. We've only won there twice this season in the Premier League.
Yeah,
I mean, we're in February.
Sean, I know this sounds really stupid, right? I will know before kickoff.
Or within 5 minutes of it started. Yeah.
Ricky, way before that. The high street for me.
Get the mug out. Get the mug out.
Hear me out.
Get the mug out.
Hear me out. Right.
You're right. The everyone said that, didn't they? They said they knew
out.
That contact performance still you're talking about. Everyone knew that game was won before we even stepped in the ground. Everyone knew we won it.
This is what I was going to say, right? I know this sounds crazy. The high street is the best indicator. If you can feel it on the high street, if those smoke bombs mean something, and the chants have got that real kind of warlike hunger in, you know.
I tend to agree with you. I tend to agree with yourself, but it's very clippable. It's very clippable.
Until Vicario throws one in. Until Vicario throws one in.
Before the team sheet is out, whether we're going to win or lose.
Get the team sheet.
I won't tell you until afterwards. Because I'm always right. But I will have known beforehand we were going to win or lose.
Hold on a minute. Hold on a second. When the season we played them and Conte was manager, the team sheet came out on the high road and Romero was out of the team. Do you remember?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I agree with you, Stel. You can tell. I'm only winding you up. I can tell.
I know you're winding me up.
Can I just say about what you were
the atmosphere is electric, even in the rain, even if it's raining, if you can feel it, you know we're going to get
what about the swirling wind, though? What about the swirling wind? Can we deal with the swirling wind?
I'm taking a hairdryer out with me. Right,
Still, you need this, mate. You need this.
But you know I'm right. You know.
People, hang on. This is brilliant. You should get. I'll try and get you one if I can find it. People who think they know it all are especially annoying to those of us who do.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Can I just say on a positive note, one of the things that Richie was asked to do, which he was a bit surprised about by the tactical coach, by the set piece coach, was he adopted the Harry Kane role of heading defensive from corners. He was, or set pieces. He's the guy that's meant to head the ball away. So not having him when we don't have, what's name? I think without having Kuti will be an advantage. Now, the thing is, would he dare play Richie? I would personally be playing Richie and Solanke on the weekend. I know he probably won't, but I'd like to see Richie because basically he will get in their faces, number one. And number two, he will be there clearing corners and set pieces, which we desperately need. Because I think without someone like him winning those corners, we could be, as Stel says, vulnerable to the set pieces that Arsenal are so strong at. And I think with him,
if Richie's fit, might not be a bad shout.
Yeah. The other plus also will be Dragusin, who's great in the air and much better than Romero. So if we're talking specifically about defending corners and defending crosses, you would hope that
Romero's not going to be there. Who's going to play? Who's going to play in the back line? If he's going to do a back three, it's going to be
Paulinho.
Paulinho on the right, Dragusin in the middle, and Van der Ven on the left.
Yeah, 100%.
Can I just say, boys, I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised though. Don't exclude maybe Byfield getting a surprise mention. I'm not saying he'll definitely start but I wouldn't completely rule that. I wouldn't completely rule that out. I just wouldn't rule it out because things like that, for example, when there's a curveball like that put into the thing, fans get behind the plan. Don't forget, Danny Rose, I think, was making his debut on the night where he scored that unbelievable goal. Like, maybe it's a big call. But
17 though, as a centre back.
It's romantic, Johnny. It's romantic. If Igor Tudor is looking for a way, to make everyone go, you know what, park all of the kind of negativism, all the negativity right now.
Yeah.
Like, we got this to deal with. We got Arsenal. There's enough reasons. Now let's throw in a 17-year-old that has to handle Martinelli or Trossard, whoever it is. Like, every time he touches the ball, that man is going to cheer. It'll be the coming of age. If he fucks it, it'll be.
Yeah.
It could. I don't think it will happen. But if it did happen, I could see the merit behind it. Ricky. You know?
Yeah. Sorry, Stel, what you saying there?
Why not play Jed Spence in the back three?
Jed can play. Jed can play in the. Jed has said he would play in a back three, but he's never been. What might happen? Look, I'm hoping that Porro's back. If Porro's not back, we could see a completely different setup. You know, we might actually see Jed on the right hand side. We just don't know.
And Sousa on the left, possibly.
No, I don't know about. Do you know what? I just think when you play teams like Arsenal, play your best players in their best position.
Yeah,
we've only got 13 players.
I was also going to say, what's our best players at the moment? I'm not sure what we have as the best players.
I just feel Paulinho has to be the 6 in this game. He has to be, in my view. If he goes into the back three, I think we just open up that midfield.
You don't play an individual 6 though in a back three model, mate. You play like a double pivot, and as far as I'm aware of Igor,
he has to be one of those in the pivot, Sean. Yeah,
but Igor Tudor likes to apparently I don't know, but apparently Igor Tudor likes to play 2 more advanced midfielders. So like Conor Gallagher would obviously be an obvious option because he can do a little bit of whatever you ask of him. The other one, I would imagine the other one would be Pape Sarr. Personally, I would think the two in midfield would be Pape Sarr and Conor Gallagher, and then in the front three would be Xavi Simons, possibly Mawani because of his Juventus story, and obviously Dom Solanke.
One thing's for sure. If he turns up and Mawani produces the performances that we've seen since he arrived, the AI version, the imposter that's turned up at this club.
Can you imagine if Mawani?
He will. I'll tell you what. He'll have something to say about it because he's seen what he did for him at Juventus, right? So he's not gonna stand for that shit. There's no chance. No chance. He knows what he can do. And let's be honest, that what epitomised the disgust that I had from a player that I've watched. I could not believe that incident. I think it was against West Ham when the ball went over the top and he gave up. He came on as a sub and he didn't even bother running for it. And Jed Spence, which was about 20 yards behind him on the left-hand side, still got to the ball. You can't be doing that shit. You cannot be doing that. So
Johnny,
let's hope he
way offside. He was way offside.
No, mate, come on. Look,
he's way offside.
Mate, it was an offside. He was.
I don't think these players need a rocket up their arse. I think they just need to be given confidence and self-belief. I think they need to be told that they can attack. It's okay to attack, but don't just attack for 90 minutes. You've also got to think about your defensive duties. There's that balance, right? I think the players we've got, if you go in hard on them, they'll either rebel against you or they'll switch off. There's got to be that kind of middle ground where, yeah, look, I've got to be a little bit tough with you, but I'm also going to put my arm around you at the same time whilst I do it. That's what these players, I think, need. We don't want a military general to come in because he'll scare the shit out of half our players aren't capable of handling that. They don't have it in them, in my view. They're too weak for it.
Just before we move on to the last segment of the show, which is about the ownership and everything else, and we were talking about the kind of the media stuff there with guys Matt Law and stuff.
That should take about a day.
What's that, Johnny?
That should take about a day.
Is that your manifesto, Lubo?
It is. It's printed out. Here we go again. Before we get to the super chats, just to round off the segment, Stella, you got your numbers out, your pen out. Should we do the predictions for the game?
You will do it now, yeah?
You might as well do it now just for the clippable segment. Johnny, what's your prediction on the game, my man?
As I'm going last, as I am in last, I'm going to go 2-2.
Desmond 2-2. Ricky Sachs, mate. What are you saying for the game?
I'll go for a 1-1. Might have been a different scoreline in the last 24, 48 hours, but that Wolves performance result has definitely changed my feeling. So 1-1 would hopefully, be a great springboard for Tudor.
Okay. I'm going to be party pooper, and I'm going to go 2-1 to Arsenal. Sorry, Lubo. Top spot's got to be top spotted. What are you guys saying?
2-1 Arsenal.
Copycat. Stel?
3-3. 3-3.
3-3.
Yeah, chaos.
Why not?
Chaotic. Both teams just go for it and cancel each other out.
What I'd love to see is an Arsenal player sent off and the referee actually take control. I'd like to see a referee that does not throw us under the bus and give them a pass. Because what I've seen in the last 3 or 4 games is Arsenal players getting a pass. Mikel Arteta stood on the side of the pitch getting a pass. Last night he was on the bloody pitch, right? Why is no one questioning it? He gets away with murder. The players get away with murder. I need a strong referee on Sunday. I haven't even looked to see. Do we know who the ref is on Sunday?
Peter Banks, I believe. Peter Banks.
Peter Banks. Wasn't he in Mary Poppins?
I think he was in the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
By the way,
Banks.
People in the chat, if you like to make bets on what we say on this show, please don't follow anything I say, because I'm just saying whatever I think will get me more points than Sean. I don't actually believe half the things I predict. I just need to catch up with Sean.
He has to be taken down from top spot.
Opinions on most things on the Spurs Five. He just wants to.
I can't predict the same as Sean. I was actually going to say 2-1 Arsenal, but I can't. I have
Can't
to.
now. Can't all copy me.
I'll stick with it. 3-3.
All right, let's do some super chats, and then we're going to move into the bigger picture stuff. Big up to Bourbon Buzzard, who's put in the first super chat of the evening. Big up to you, Bourbon Buzzard. Thank you very much, my man. Choo very much indeed, mate. I hope you're okay. Appreciate you very much. Also, Tim 3412 has put in a very generous €12 super chat, who says, "Hi lads, really appreciate all the effort and entertainment you put into these shows. Appreciate you for appreciating us. It's been a grim enough season football wise, so please keep up the good work." We'll try, my man. We will try. Big up to you, Tim. I hope you are okay, and I hope you are. Don't let the football stuff get you down, mate, because if it did, it would send us all to the misery bin. But I appreciate you, Tim. Thank you very much, mate. Very generous of you as well. Queen Ellie, big up to you. Ellie, how you doing, miss? Appreciate you very much. Thank you for becoming a new member of the show. Big up to you, Queen Ellie. Thank you very much indeed. Appreciate that support. Sidaktar 6854. Apologies if I'm getting that one wrong. I'm at the Blue Coats pub on the high road having a pint of Johnson's again. Are you really? Sounds cool. I'll see you there on Sunday. Let's hope the Palace fans don't sing that when they play us. He's had a shocker, hasn't he, since he's joined them? He's done absolutely nothing. Best 35 million quid we've ever made. Big up to you, Sidedack Star. Thank you very much indeed, mate. Enjoy your beer. Dean Lord Chudini, big up to you, mate. Choo to you, buddy. Appreciate you very much. Always here, always supporting. Thank you very much indeed, my mate. And a user says, which partner quit after our 17th placed finish? Which partner quit after our 17th place?
Is he asking if will one of us quit if we get rid if we finish 17th?
No, I think he's talking about the sponsors, maybe.
Oh.
I don't know. I'm not sure, mate. Don't know. Maybe someone did. Yeah, again, no, I listen, Matt Law might be right, but I don't know. For me personally, I think the man says a lot of things that don't come true, likes to stoke bad energy in the football club, and it doesn't.
Sounds like you, Sean.
Yeah, but I'm not a journalist. I'm a fucking content creator.
I just wanted to have a dig at you.
Yeah, fine. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. You little git. I'm going to get you back later. Stephen J. Cab says, intense and enjoyable show. Big up to you, Stephen. He says, a fan of 50 plus years, loving listening to all you guys sharing the joy and pain. Fingers crossed for Sunday. Big up to you, Stephen. Appreciate you, mate, there. We're all just fans at the end of the day. Apart from Matt Law, who's not a fan at all. Big up to you, mate. Appreciate you, Stephen. Thank you, mate. Hope you're okay, buddy. Appreciate your support of the show. Today is to do F all says, big up to you, Mr. Foxley. He says, like Icarus to the sun and Sisyphus to the stone, in his absence, her broken bones. Jesus Christ. Her heart in tune with his name, presto, yearns 7-point manifesto.
Someone's been working hard.
Someone's either an incredibly intellectual, well-read man, or you've been on ChatGPT for a couple of minutes since you saw Luvo putting his little bit of paper up. Big up to you. Big up to you, Mr. Poxy. Very, very insightful stuff. Go on, Johnny.
No, I was just going to sing I Fought the Law and the Law Won. How's that song? I fought the law and the law won. Yeah, good. But I hope we win. And law's wrong.
So do I. All right, Eureka, Ratatata, Eureka Kaka says, we need to get behind the team. None of this change for Tottenham fans booing on the sagas of this world, riling up the fan base against the players for 3.5 months. Ulrika, listen, he's not here to defend himself, so I'm not gonna mention Sava. Listen, I love you, Ulrika. Thank you for all your support, but not gonna get into that. I do agree on the behind.
Just get in the bath, get back in the bath, Eureka, and
dry your bit.
Dry your bit.
Change for Tottenham don't want us to be playing bad football. They want us to have football for us to get behind. But the football's been so bad. How can we get behind it? It's been difficult. I think it's a bit. And Sava's not able to defend himself. It's a bit harsh.
Yeah. Listen, big up to you though, Ulrika, because you're always here, always supporting. And Queen Ellie in a £3 super sticker. Big up to you. Choo choo to you, Queen Ellie. Choo choo to you, Ellie. I hope you're okay. Thank you very much indeed. Very cool of you to do it. And as always, to Coy's Hotspurs with the £5 super sticker as well. Big up to you, Hole. Big up to you indeed. Thank you very much indeed, guys. Really appreciate all of the support that you guys throw to this way to the show. Don't forget to subscribe to the man. Listen, there's no chance you haven't already. If you haven't already, then there's something wrong with you. But please do go and subscribe to Last Word on Spurs. I will be putting his link in the chat, but I'm sure you already know exactly what Ricky Sachs is all about. Why have you pulled this one up? Peter Banks has handed out 3 red cards this season, more than any other ref. Perfect. So we are going to go down to 10 minutes at some point in the game.
So they give it nice. Cheers.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about the bigger picture stuff. We've got sort of 20 minutes left. I know Ricky's got to leave bang on 10 past. Ricky, I'm going to come to you first because you did actually want to. We were sort of getting into it during the intermission there. You did talk about, Matt Law's talking about things that everyone sort of feels. And I agree with you that there's certainly a lot of resentment towards the ownership right now. I do have to, just to pick up on that, what I was mentioning to you before I realized that Stell hadn't spoken, was that there are a lot of, you saying that, people like Matt Law, they are they do have relationships with the club, right? Which is absolutely true and absolutely fair. I think that the club have utilized those relationships over the last 2 or 3 weeks to push certain ideas towards those guys who then send it out. Ornstein, Matt Law, Ali Gold. I'm not accusing anybody of any of those guys of misrepresenting the truth. I'm thinking they're just maybe pushing out information that they've received. But whether the source of that information is coming from a sincere point of view, I would challenge the fact that they said that it was Johan Lang and Vinay that were pushing for the appointment of Igor Tudor. To me and to most people that have been paying attention, is a little bit insulting to our intelligence. It was Paratici that wanted Igor Tudor, and it was Paratici that wanted Roberto De Zerbi before Thomas Frank even came into power. Both of those guys were spoken to after Thomas Frank's removal. And when Paratici throws out the commentary saying, I want to work for an ownership that's ambitious and I want to work for a club that listens to my ideas, I find it a little bit laughable that the people that were undermined and overruled with regards the decision on what to do with Thomas Frank, i.e. Vinay and i.e. Johan Lang, would then also be the people that are championing the appointment of a guy who they already vetoed earlier on in the season when Paratici was still here. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't have to. We haven't got to go down the journalistic integrity route, but the whole thing for me screams of a club that doesn't know what they're doing, and I don't know who it is to believe. I don't know who it is that's got the actual power of attorney over the footballing decisions at the football club right now.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair, Sean. I mean, I don't want to pick up on the journalist point. The reality is, we know, look, Spurs have got a number of journalists that obviously work in tandem around the football club. I'll say, let's be very, very clear. None of these journalists work for Tottenham. They're briefed by Tottenham in terms of news. So, for example, what we saw before Tudor was appointed, it was very much clear that a lot of the kind of general journalists that cover Spurs week to week, the likes of Ali, the likes of Tom Barkley, the likes of Jack Pitt-Brook, the likes of Jay Harris, the likes of those that you see on the regular press pack at Tottenham were briefed, and you saw it at the same time. They all came out as a simultaneous message. Tottenham want to go down the interim route. They're not looking to employ a full-time manager right now in terms of for the long term. They're looking for, of course, an interim. They all obviously had that message, and they briefed us about that. And obviously within, 4 or 5 hours, it was made very, very clear Igor Tudor was coming to Tottenham. The point around Matt Law's article, which has just come out in the last 24 hours, is that Matt Law has got from his own source away from Tottenham that a major sponsor, now again, it depends surely, like I say, where you are in that and whether you believe what he's telling you. He has claimed that a major sponsor will not be renewing with Tottenham. That is a sponsor that has worked with the club for a very, very long time, is a long-standing sponsor. Now, the point you made earlier is what message and what benefit is he trying to deliver by giving us that information? It depends how far you're looking into that and what you're looking to get from that. What that tells me personally is what I think we know for generally around Tottenham at the moment is that there's a lack of structure, a lack of direction, a lack of organisation, and it feels at the moment nobody has control. Mm-hmm. And look, I think it would be wrong of me on here to suggest and say that we think now we should be bringing Daniel Levy back, because I don't want Daniel Levy to come back to the football club. But the reality is, whether you like Levy, whether you don't like Levy, Daniel Levy was a decision maker. We was not in favour, all of us, of all of Daniel Levy's decisions, but he was a decision maker. We've now got to a point, unfortunately, where we've got no decision maker on this board anymore. Nobody wants to take ownership. Nobody wants to take accountability when it comes to a decision. So right now, we've got a lot of people that are there that have got a lack of footballing knowledge and don't want to make a decision. And whether you believe it or not, from what we're hearing, pre-Thomas Frank going, after Thomas Frank going, is that the concern would be there was still a split on that boardroom as to whether they wanted Thomas Frank to go. Massively, massively concerns me as a fan, and should concern many Tottenham fans out there, whether you are match-going fans or you just follow the club from afar. The fact that there would even be a split come to the point where he was under Frank, because if Thomas Frank was going to stay in charge of Tottenham, we were going to be relegated. The form table shows you that. There's no doubt about it. Tottenham were going to be relegated, so we had to make a change. It goes back to what I said earlier with Heitinger. He was here 33 days. So when they gave Heitinger the role 33 days ago, whoever gave him that role obviously thought at that time Tottenham were in no danger under Thomas Frank of being relegated, or couldn't see that being a problem. 33 days on, Heitinger's lost his job. That shows you whatever the planning was around that was wrong. And they didn't take it seriously enough. We could be relegated.
Sorry to interrupt. Do you believe that Vinay, forget about the sponsorships for a second, do you believe that Vinay and Johan Lang still have authority over the footballing decisions at this football club?
Worryingly, yes. I worryingly do actually believe that, because you go back to, Johan Lang, that window wrap-up, which you boys covered at the time. What was that? It was a word salad. No one really understood a word what he was saying in general. We didn't get anything out of that. Nothing. Again, it's more false promises. Wait until the summer. Let's see what the summer brings. We're going to act big in the summer. How many times have we heard that under this ownership? And I agree, again, with what a lot of you guys have said in the past. Everybody's got their tolerance level in terms of where they will get to under the Lewis family, whether it be under Enoch or in certain people. But right now, for as long as Vinay Venkatesham and Johan Langer, in my opinion alone, just my personal opinion, for as long as they're at this football club, Spurs are not going anywhere. But in the longer term frame, the Lewis family, I haven't seen anything in the last 4 or 5 months since they owned the football club to give me any confidence whatsoever Tottenham are going to get back to being a Tottenham that we recognise. And that's my feeling. It comes on to the manager in the summer with Pochettino that many people want.
Yeah, it's not going to be the difference maker. But Ricky, just quickly, when it came to Thomas Frank's dismissal, do you believe the rumours, and they are rumours, unsubstantiated, but do you believe the rumours that it wasn't that Thomas Frank and Johan Lang and Vinay were rooting for Thomas Frank to stay?
I believe that because they gave John Heitinger a job 33 days ago, and at that time didn't think Tottenham were in danger.
So on the basis that they wanted him to stay and then they were overruled by someone else who's a non-footballing person.
Agree.
Whether that's Collicott, whether that's Charrington, whether that's
Nick Boycher,
whoever, right? Yep. Whoever it was, Joe Lewis, whoever it was. If someone else went, sorry, we disagree with you, you're the footballing people. And we also, by the way, you disagreed with Paratici, who left the football club, and Paratici had recommended, according to reports, again, don't know if they're substantiated, but he wanted De Zerbi before you overruled him, before Thomas Frank came to the club and you brought in Thomas Frank. Every major decision that the football club has made, according to reports, has been the antithesis of what Paratici wanted. And Johan Lang and Thomas Frank got together and spoke to Vinay, and they all went in that direction. The fact that Johan Lang and Vinay wanted Thomas Frank to stay and they went in a different direction, the fact that Igor Tudor is here now, which was what Paratici wanted before he pulled off.
Yeah.
You like how can you square the circle? Not you, but like
no, I get it.
The circle that those two now are saying, yeah, okay, so you didn't listen to me on Thomas Frank. Now let's go and like it was them that were pushing the idea of employing Igor Tudor, who the guy that you forced out by not listening to any of his opinions over the previous 4 or 5 months. To me, it's like the tail wagging the dog. It doesn't make any sense that the footballing, that the guys who are non-footballing people that overruled the footballing people are now listening to the footballing people to say, okay, if you've made that decision, now we'll go and get the guy. We'll go and get the guy that we didn't agree with in any other facet over the last 6 months wanted anyway. I'm not sure what's worse.
Surely this is the mess we're in. But this is the mess we're in. This is your question you're putting me to there. The thing you're summarising there is why we are where we are. This is the mess we're in.
I don't believe the footballing people are being listened to anymore. And I almost think it's a good thing, because the people that have had the footballing decisions, they've actually made the worst decisions. They should have got at Kliush rather than going after Paqueta, which was what we've heard, right? They should.
But who hired the football people, Sean?
Forget about that for a second.
You can't forget that.
No, just that's a separate conversation, because you want to bring it back to who's the blame really. I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying right now,
bad stuff.
that's fine. We can talk about that in a second. But my argument is, how can anybody with a straight face tell me that Ali Gold, with all due respect, I don't know the guy, love him. I'm sure he's just being told what he's told and saying what he's saying. Matt Law, same. Ornstein, same thing. Trusted source. You've got a new communications director, Katie, whatever her name is, right? New marketing person. We need to look like this is a tight ship. Right now, we need Vinay to have the impression like they are still making footballing decisions, despite the fact that we all know that they wanted Thomas Frank to stay. He's gone. So now they're saying, oh, it was Vinay and Johan Lang, Ricky, that were pushing for Igor Tudor. Come on. It's insulting to the intelligence of anyone that can like put one foot in front of the other with the conversation here. To me, it's not them that's making that decision. It's the non-footballing people, which is terrifying, but it has to be the reality, in my opinion, that we land on, that it's not the footballing people that decided that Igor Tudor was the right guy. It's the people that went, you were wrong to overrule Paratici all those times. He's gone. We can't trust you anymore. Hey, Fabio, any chance you can still put us in touch with Igor? Bring him back in. That to me is like it's like Occam's razor. It's the most obvious thing. Is it not to you?
No, I agree, but that's why we are where we are, because that was the only viable option we've got to now. I think this is where we are. I think we're always going to be where we are until something massively changes. We're in a Mike Ashley hamster wheel.
Well, we are. They thought that they could come in. I've said this to you countless times, Sean. Daniel Levy was a smart cookie. Whatever you think of him, he was very smart. He knew one day that this family, if Joe died or something happened to Joe, that those kids might come and make a takeover and throw him out, right? Or get rid of him, right? In the back of his head. And he made it a situation so much so that you want to remove me, you can't. He was integral in every single decision that went on in that club. Everything from toilet paper to, sponsorship to signing players, contracts, the lot. And they thought they could remove him. They pulled the needle out, right? And everything's imploded. And these people who thought, anyone can do that, right? Well, just bring in people. Well, it hasn't worked. Every single aspect. They've lost sponsorship. They're losing more sponsorship. They've got no shirt sponsor. They've got no state. I mean, it's all of it is imploded. We are going backwards since this dream that they sold us of ENIC 2.0. not only was it, maybe they believed it, Sean, maybe they believed what they were going to deliver, but we can all see now it's smoke and mirrors. And there's not a chance that Johan Lang, this clueless idiot, has presided over 2.5 years of mediocrity would be a compliment, is still there, and they've been overridden by the board, who aren't football people. There's no football people left. If he's the only football person making a decision, God help us all.
And here is your way out of this, Enoch. Here is your shortened version of Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People, which is the best business book, highest selling business book ever.
What about Donald Trump, How to Succeed?
What are we doing here, Lubo, with your leaving?
I tell you what we're doing here, Sean.
Part of the deal.
We have all outlines what is going wrong. And it's not just Enoch 2, it was Enoch 1, let's face it. Levy made so many horrendous football decisions.
Luke, you now where we are. That narrative, mate.
Right, you're going back.
I'm now going to take this on. It can be clicked. If there's anybody half decent with half a brain on the board, you should be taking note of this. And I'm not going to start the 7-point manifesto just yet, but I'm going to tell you one important thing. You are the only company worth billions that I know of that don't have an expert on your board. That is an absolute total disgrace. And this was the case when Levy was there, because he knew F all about football as well. So hurry up, get some proper football people on your board. And when you've got them, listen to these points and make a note. Number 1. Show ambition, commitment.
Oh, not again.
No. This is important. This is
as bad as the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust 5 points.
The trust got there. Forget those 5 points.
This is a political broadcast on behalf of the Lilywhites.
This is the real deal, not the Supporters Club 5-point trust. Number 1, show ambition, commitment, and a desire to be successful.
That is also point 1 on the...
Number 1. No. Stop, Sean. Otherwise, this will be...
Number 2, brush your teeth every morning before going to bed.
Right. When you've got your head screwed on, guys, and you're showing the ambition and the commitments, put together a plan with a short, mid, and long-term strategy. There hasn't been a plan at this club for 25 years, or probably even more.
What are we doing?
Into the 90s. Number 3, build a top football operation from first team to academy. Number 4, buy players early so they can be integrated into the first team, not at the last minute when it's panics on August 31st. Number 5, buy players that are right for the club, not because they are deals or opportunities.
Why doesn't he do this on Last Word on Spurs?
Number 6.
You never do this when you go on Ricky.
Number 6, pay proper market wages. You might find you get better players. And number 7, when you bring in, because there is only a limited number of players in the squad, so if you're bringing in players, you've got to sell them. But sell them at the right time and at the right price, and you avoid keeping deadwood. Pretty basic, don't you think? But how has this club got it so wrong for all these years? And this is the shit we are in now. There you go.
In other news, Lubo's 1-point plan to getting wealthy on the stock market: buy low, sell high. That's what you got to do, people, and you'll be fucking millionaire.
A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush.
If I hear that manifesto one more time, I'm going to explode.
You can explain it. I'll repeat it again if you want.
This manifesto.
Dear club. Anyway, Enoch, if you want to get on, you click this and show some respect to the fans, because we deserve it.
He left his camera on
deserve it.
Last 3 or 4 minutes. He doesn't want to be associated with that.
They're about to put the season ticket prices up to get rid of us now.
Yeah. Listen.
Is it over?
Yeah, it's done. He's finally finished his waffle here. Last couple of minutes, guys. I have to ask. What does the new ownership look like? Would you, all of you guys, what would you like to see right now? Is there anyone here that wants to see Daniel Levy come back? You know, Ricky made a little. He didn't want to come out and say it, but I felt like he was saying, if Levy was here, what we've seen in the last year wouldn't have happened. Was that one?
Not all of it. Not all of it, Shawnee. You wouldn't have seen all of it.
No, behind scenes, he was singing, I love Daniel Levy. Daniel Levy loves me. Yeah.
It goes back to the point, I think, Sean, like, for me, I just want football first. I want the club to come first. I want supporters to come first rather than anything. You know, I don't actually mind them having the NFL, the boxing, the concerts, as long as Spurs are put first and as long as the club is put first and as long as our ambitions are first. And I don't really mind anything that goes around that. I really don't mind that. And just to be clear with Daniel Levy, I think I'm not saying I want Levy back, but all I'm saying is that in this last year, definitely, you wouldn't have seen a lot of what's going on right now. And whether you believe the story or not, sponsorships in terms of now, people looking at the fact I don't want to be associated with Tottenham long term tells you anything you need to know about how concerned they are about who is running upstairs. That's not me saying I want Levy back, but just to be very, very clear, that shows you the concern about who is now running things at the top.
By the way, but just to be clear, I'm not sitting here saying that what he's saying isn't true. I'm just saying that.
Of course.
He himself, for me, has never. I've never seen him put out anything other than a negative influence thing without giving the manifesto, without giving the details to what it looks like. And a lot of the time, it doesn't ever manifest to be true. But I'm not saying that there isn't a sponsorship that might be pulling away. I'm not calling bullshit on it. So I don't want people to come to me if someone does pull away. I don't want people going, "Oh, Bala, you were wrong again." I'm always wrong. I want to ask the rest of you guys as well.
Sure.
What does the new, like, if you want, go on, Steph.
I was going to say, on this subject, I go back to what I keep saying every freaking time this comes up. There is no plan at this club. There never has been, there never will be with this ownership, right? You sacked a man who won a trophy. Fine. The league performance wasn't good enough. You bring in Frank for a project. It's going to take time. You then sack that manager because you don't believe in the project, the one that you told us that was beginning. You don't even believe in the people behind putting the project together because they're overridden by the boss. You don't even know who to hire next. So you call the guy that you sacked to tell you who to hire. Mate, there is no freaking plan whatsoever at this club.
So Stel, do you remember when you and I first didn't really know that we had conflict? There was this notion of anyone but Levy, anyone but Inick will do. And I always said, be careful what you wish for. That might not be the case. Didn't mean, I'm not saying that you can't get better, but it just new doesn't necessitate better always, right? Sometimes you can get worse. Sometimes you get the same. Sometimes you get no real changes. A sideways step looks different. What does, last question, I'll let everyone answer on this one. If you're not happy with Inick, which will be the current version of it, the former version of it, the whole version of it, if you're not happy with what it is, and I think we can all agree that we're not, what would you like to see as a, and give me a specific, not
I've answered this question. I've answered you.
All that stuff. Please tell me something. Would you like to see someone come in that is, like, what would you like to see with a specific edge to it? Just give us a specific style.
Sean, I've answered this question to you so many times. I don't know what ownership we get next. It's a risk. I've said this to you. It's a risk getting rid of Enoch because we might get a Man City ownership. We might get a Kroenke. We might get an Everton and Newcastle. We might get Levy 2.0. There is no idea. No fan can predict what we get next.
What would you like to see, though?
Hold on. I'm getting there. For me, where I'm at, Sean, this is where I'm at. I just want to take the risk of what happens next because I can't tolerate this anymore. This, for me, doesn't work.
That's fine.
What kind of ownership would I like? I like what Arsenal are doing, but I wish that with a proven manager.
But that took years. That took years, Stel. Let's be honest, right?
So did Jurgen Klopp. But
I don't mean that. I mean, I'm talking about until the Arsenal fans marched on the stadium, right? And to Kroenke's office, and Kroenke Jr. came out. I said, I hear what you're saying. I'm now willing to invest and I'm now willing to do it. And he backed it and he did it. Okay. Yeah. We need new owners, but be careful what you wish for.
No, Johnny, hold on. That's not my answer. My answer is changing ownership is always a risk. Just like changing players, just like changing everything's a risk, but it's calculated. Okay. I just want the next owners to be like a Man City or like an Arsenal, where the emphasis is on that football team and scaling a team that can genuinely challenge for success. Otherwise, Sean, what was the point of spending £1 billion on this stadium if we're going to go backwards? I was under the impression this stadium would make us compete with the bigger boys.
Will you take the chance?
Burnley and Palace.
Will you take the chance with anyone? Will you take just yes or no answer? Because we got to end off in 2 minutes, and I want to get everyone answered. Would you take the chance with the Tech DJ, bro? Would you take the chance with Wing-Fi? Would you take the chance with Stabley? Would you take the chance with them and go, I hope that these guys know who to hire to handle the rest of it?
Anyone but Enoch, as long as they haven't got a horrific, nasty background. Anyone but Enoch, because this got about 25 years. I don't want this anymore, Sean. I'm prepared to take the risk. And I accept it's a risk. I acknowledge it's a risk.
I'm on board it as well, mate. I'm on board it as well. Lubo, very quick answer because we've got to go.
Very quick. Listen, I'll go with your guy, Sean. We've gone from Levy megalomaniac disaster to Enoch 2.0 making no decisions disaster. They're both as bad as each other. They're both as extreme as each other. We need new owners. Bring it on.
For me, I'm all behind Ehrlich and Wing-Fi. That's the sound of a fantastic combination. Wing-Fi and Ehrlich, Wing-Fi, Ehrlich, or Ehrlich, Wing-Fi. But either way,
out in Chinatown, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Oh.
You'd have Paul Coates out, Sean Butler in. Can you imagine?
No. Listen, look, at the end of the day, we just want what's best for the club, and right now we're going backwards. That's it. Come on, you Spurs.
Big up to you guys. And Ricky, before I come to there's a couple of super chats, but last word for you, my man. The last word for Ricky on Spurs is how would you like to see him? What would you like? Are you happy to see these guys turn it around? Would you rather see them employ Paul Mitchell, whatever, or would you want? Are you more inclined to like roll the dice with the risk of new?
I just think we stick with what we've got now. I don't see anything telling me this is ever going to change, so I'd be a point of having a risk. But at the same time, like Stell does say, you're not sure what you're going to get, but can it get much worse than where we are right now? We're in the bottom half of the second season. We're fighting relegation. Might be some would say for a second season. Could it be as bad as what it is now? I'll take the risk and take the gamble, Sean.
Love it, mate. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, Ricky. Thanks to all of you guys. Let me just quickly, Ricky. I'll be 10 seconds. I'm going to round off. So I know you're going to go. Today is Tudor, or today is Tudor. Even no chat GPT. Laugh emoji. AFC. Bastardized llama sample headers. Mate, I have no idea what you're doing tonight with me, mate. Your chat GPT's gone mental. But you're saying
whatever
no.
He's on. Don't
wherever you're on, give me
Don't
one of them.
Give me one of them.
It's the Basuma balloons. He's been taking the Basuma balloons.
It also says herders hope Arsenal go his but a scratch on Sunday. Bro, I don't know. Whatever you're doing.
Thanks for the super chat.
Thank you for the super chat, mate. Thank you for the super chat. Absolutely brilliant. Guys, we're going to leave it there. Massive thank you to everyone who has watched this evening. It's been over 1,000, 1,200 people most of the evening. Appreciate everyone. Ricky, thank you so much, my man. What time is your next show tomorrow?
No, it's now.
Are you doing a show right now, are you? Oh, okay. I'll let you go. Yeah, I'll do the redirect right now over to you, mate.
Heart, mate.
Appreciate you. I'll let you guys go. Guys, stay where you are. We're going to send you over to Ricky Sack. Ricky, do you want to jump off, mate? And I can
pleasure, mate. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, guys. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Guys, for the rest of you, stay where you are. Let me just get the last one on Spurs. I'll send over the redirect right now. Last one on Spurs. Where is it? Here we go.
Thank you, boys. Always a pleasure. Look forward to the next time as always. Top man.
See you soon, Ricky.
Thanks, mate.
See you in a bit. I had no idea the man was going to be going straight after. Let's here we go. Subscribe. No, redirect. Guys, stay where you are. I'm going to send you straight over to Ricky. I can't even do it because he hasn't allowed me to redirect. Well, you know where you're going to go right after here. The redirect is done. Or it will be done. Appreciate everyone. Please smash. Please hit the like button. Hit the subscribe. Hit the notification bells. Stell, Johnny, Lubo, love you all. We'll see you next time.
Come on, you Spurs.
Cheers, guys.
Butlers again, ole ole. Butlers again.